everyone, and welcome back to the Welsh Season 8 Grand Finals. It's quite a week today. Today I'm joined by BlazyBard. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing just fine. I'm actually, I would like to retract that statement, actually. I'm not doing just fine, because in this very moment, now that we've actually gone live, I'm realizing that I meant to go and grab my mustache cream to twiddle my mustache, and now I am left, I'm left out-mustached, outgunned. So, to answer your question in a very roundabout kind of way, terrible. I'm doing terrible.
Yeah, it's a bad start to the day, but hopefully you can cheer your spirits up with some stellar CS action. It has been a long old road to get here with quite a few weeks of CS, but yeah, we finally got to the point where we can crown a winner for this year's season. Yeah, let's have a quick look at how we got here, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We're riding along here with the Ponies and the Dragons, two teams that have really stood out this entire season. Not many game losses between them. Not many round losses between them as well in total. Looking at the standings here, Dragons have lost in total 5 rounds, which is an insane slash line. And then off the back of that as well, the Ponies have lost a few more here, sitting at, oh gosh, doing math on cast, 12 plus 4, 16 total round losses around across 4 games. So both of these two teams have been absolutely dominant on their sides of the bracket, and finally they get to meet up here at the very end with, at the very least, guaranteed Overpass and Inferno, with Nuke being our go-to tiebreaker map. Thank you.
There you
Words are hard.
they certainly are. Yeah, you're definitely right about both these teams being stacked, and they've been utter domination on both sides coming through. The big question for me now is, are we going to see a contentious map, or sorry, match I should say, or are we expecting it to still be dominant from one of these teams? Where do you see things going?
Well, I always love to see two teams taking it all the way. If you're asking for me what I'm hoping for, I'm hoping for 13-11s on every match, or double overtimes, or, you know, some really close games where both of these teams really get to flex their muscles. If you're asking me what I'm predicting, the Dragons have been something of a overall favorite for the tournament so far. That being said, the Ponies have definitely been nothing to sneeze at. So what I'm hoping for, Jammer, is that both of these two teams bring their A games. And I want to see some, to be the most stereotypical commentator I could possibly be, let's see some nice, clean, well-fought games from these two teams.
Yeah, that would be the ideal scenario. I do think, you know, one thing we should mention is the teams have been mixed up from last season, so perhaps what you might expect to be the first seed is not going to quite be working out that way. And in that regard, the SEA Dragons that we see in the finals are kind of, in my eyes, the spiritual defending champions from last season. At least they've got, I think, 1 or 2 of the players from that winning team. But all of the teams have been a little bit scrambled this season. So, yeah, it's been good to see that some players can move up and move down, and that we're still seeing some consistency from at least some of these players from this defending side. But, yeah, on the other side of things, the Pit Ponies, I think in the past few seasons, they've shown bits of promise, and they've shown areas where they can contend. But I think it's finally got to the point now where my expectations are they can, you know, actually bring a fight towards the SEA Dragons this time, because in many of the previous seasons, the SEA Dragons and that caliber of player has just been a cut above everything else that we've seen. It's nice to actually see a scenario where we've got 2 dominant teams coming up to battle it out and hopefully put on a close, contentious game of CS. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things go.
Yeah, I always love it when we get to see teams scramble and make new, stronger teams out of the pieces. It's one of the ways that we see skill growth in leagues like this, where these players can go from, hey, we won last season and we could just keep rolling and deathballing through year after year. Instead, we're going to spread around a little bit. We're going to raise up the skill level of the rest of the league. And this could be what we see here. I would love to see Unfortunately, I don't have the numbers in front of me as to which of these players themselves were on the winning roster from last season. But the Pit Ponies certainly have proved that they are worthy of getting to this stage. I would really like to see... So we can start talking about the maps here a little bit here. Jammer, Overpass locked in for the Dragons, Inferno for the Ponies. Inferno is a map that we've seen tons and tons of play on out on Well. It's a classic map. It's something that a lot of teams really pride themselves on. Overpass has always felt to me, though, as a little bit of a spicy pick, which is odd given that it's been in the game for so long and is popular in its own right. It's just always stood out to me as this kind of, it's not Mirage, it's not Dust, it's not Inferno. Overpass is a weird pick.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to play out weird in this scenario, being the most recent addition to the map pool, swapping in for Anubis not so long ago. And I do think that players are taking some time to get reacclimated to things. I think in the previous version of the game, we saw Inferno be one of the more CT-sided maps in the pool, and I think that's kept up over time. But we are starting to see how teams are kind of combating that and how the meta has evolved. I think Overpass, in contrast to something like Mirage, is a map where you have to be very fluid with the rotations on both sides, you know, taking advantage of Connector on T side and even at the start of CT rounds, and getting your B rotator active and your AWP around the map. I do think that if you're able to be active and get your pieces in place in time for these hits or the slow crawls up towards bathrooms, then you can be effective. But it's all about the critical pieces, how you move them and how you set up for the rounds. Because if you're just going to play in the same defaults every round, you'll just get out-read.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say here, Jammer. I think part of the reason I always view Overpass as a little bit spicier is that intuitiveness, is that familiarity that you really need to have to play it effectively. A lot of these other maps, I mean, everyone knows how to play Inferno. Everyone knows how you play Mirage or Dust. Overpass, I think, is just not played enough to where you really can sieve out the teams who are experienced from the ones who are lagging a little bit further behind. So I'm really interested to see the strategies from both of these players. The T side going to be quite instrumental, I think, in showing us how these two teams want to play against each other. And that's another thing that we can touch on, right? Both these teams have relatively different playstyles. The Dragons, at the very least from the games that I've seen them, really like to play this aggressive T side. The CT, at least from my limited experience watching them and commentating of them, does seem a little bit rigid from the Dragons. So I will be interested to see how that translates over to Overpass.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. I do think one of the key things we should actually highlight is the AWP player. You know, you're never going to have a good Overpass if your AWP is not playing well. Sure. And when you talk about playstyles for these two teams, I think one thing about the Pit Ponies is we have seen a couple of different players pick up the AWP over the course of the season. So the big question in my mind, at least, is who's going to be playing that A site and who's going to be picking up the AWP? Because whilst you do have a variety of players that can pick it up, you really need the strongest performer, the strongest mechanical player to pick it up and put down some domination up towards that upper site. Because if you're not putting your players in that position, it makes things so much harder.
And we got to talk a little bit about, and I say this every time I jump on this microphone for Counter-Strike, every esport is a mental game. Counter-Strike specifically is won and lost in the brain. Not only is it, you know, we talked about rotations, we've talked about playstyles, reliability, but when you get to this level, grand finals, best of three maps to do it in, that is a lot of pressure to bring in to these players. Now, we've already mentioned some of these players have been in this position before, walked away with the trophy and are now back for more, but not all of these players have been in this spot. There's going to be that element of performance anxiety there, how well these players can cope with the pressure. And on top of that, we're talking about momentum in these games. If Dragons start getting ahead, a pony's going to fall apart, vice versa. You know, which one of these two teams is going to be able to really dig in deep when the going gets tough?
Yeah, that is a really good thing to mention. You know, having done a little bit of research into sports psychology and things like that, I'm surprised that, you know, teams and even just individual players trying to rise in the ranks aren't kind of putting more emphasis on their own mental fortitude and their own ability to kind of keep a level head in certain situations, especially in the UK scene. For whatever reason, we have quite a few, you know, I'm gonna say emotive players. You know, they play with their heart on their sleeve, and you know that can be an advantage. But when it hits you in the wrong way, or when things don't go your way, it can definitely be a big detractor from your performance. So that is going to be a key thing to watch out for, and I do hope that, you know, if they haven't for this season, maybe for next season, they'll pick up some coaching or try and get some feedback from, I mean, even the likes of me, I'd be happy to kind of jump on any demo reviews with any teams or players and just kind of like help out wherever we can. Because at the end of the day, grassroots events like this, it's all about, you know, getting involved with the community, sharing ideas and kind of growing together as a group.
Yeah, and you know, we can put some therapy on the list there. You know, if you're getting mad at a video game, you can't keep your focus, try therapy. But we can loop back around here. I was talking about rounds lost, and this actually plays into this current conversation a little bit as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Talked about Dragons only having dropped a total of 5 rounds throughout the entire season so far. It'll be really interesting to see if things do go wrong for them later on in this series, how well they'll be able to deal with that. This could be the world's most resilient mental player, right? Mental players, this could have no impact on them, but it's always interesting to see a team that have done so well coming into finals. If something goes wrong in finals itself, how well they can actually deal with that when they haven't had that experience being on the losing side.
Well, that's all true, and I think we've raised some good points, but I think we are going to take a very short break until the players are ready. We might be suffering with some technical issues, but in any case, we'll be hopping straight into the action, so don't get anywhere as we take a short break. Hey, we're back in the action, everyone. I hope you didn't get too bored, but we're going to be seeing this knife round. Now, I don't know what your views are on knife skins and knife watch, but do you have any particular skins that you like?
Well, there's some lazy lore when it comes to knives and potentially getting scammed out of two rather expensive things, but glazing over that, I'm a big fan of the cut knife in particular, which isn't a popular take, but karambits are overrated, and I'm gonna leave my opinions there. How about yourself, Gemma?
Damn, that is quite the statement to drop and just dip out. But yeah, no, I've got a Talon right now, I think. So just skirting around that that controversy for the time being. Yeah, that's an interesting take. I don't know what to make of that, I'll be honest.
Listen, people like them because they spin. They're a nicer knives. I don't know. I always err on the side of, if something is stupid expensive because it goes spin, that's silly. Look at this guy here. Jesse rocking the default knife, and that is a move I 100% wholeheartedly appreciate.
I mean, you mentioned things spinning, and I'm just looking at my fidget spinner keycap, just going, ah. But anyway, we're going to hop into the action. The Pit Ponies on the CT side, SEA Dragons rip-roaring into a T-side pistol. Approaching B, very aggressive it looked like at the start, but I think it looks like more of an A fake, and that's a big kill to pick up. You should see some rotations, but the B hit's coming through already.
Second pickup. There's Zeb falls down. Straight onto the site, but Ollie from the nest picks up one. Gets traded off in the back there, and Jesse with a very clean pickup. Takes down Spirit Fox. Just right back here to deal with the onslaught, but pretty confident in calling this round. Bomb goes down. Hold a phone. Ryback finds two.
Ryback had so many clutches over his career, took a short break, and now back with a vengeance, trying to pick up a clutch for his team. Picks up one, and one more to find, just one bullet away. On for the 4K. Time's ticking down though, pressure's there. He walks forward, 4 bullets left, just needs to hit one of them, and they dance around the pillar. It's such an awkward fight, but able to pick it up is Ryback. Nice 4K, and the kit's there for the defuse.
A 4v1 to start us off, and Ryback clutches it out. Diffuser in tow, had all the time in the world. And we were talking about how favored the Dragons were coming into this match. And while they might have very much made the statement there that, yes, we're going to start off strong, Ryback, I think, is telling us here in the booth, Jammer, that this is not going to go easy for the Dragons. They're going to have to earn those scales.
100%, and as I was mentioning in the clutch, Ryback has been playing with the caliber players that SEA Dragons are, and, you know, took a short break, but looking to come back and show them what they're missing out on. This is a very aggressive push. Chow kind of punished there, I'm not gonna lie, so a lot of pressure on the rest of the Pit Ponies, but Ollie's helping out, and the rest of the team are coming to fire as well. Just Jesse and Zyrex left, Zeb with a very aggressive push, and that's the bomb down.
Beautiful pickups here from Zeb. Playing in connector, Spirit Fox, last man standing. Scratch that. Jesse's the last man standing. Spirit Fox, very much a member of a team. Zeb finds the flash out the window, but Jesse looking to mop their way through the remainder of the SEA Dragons here. Pit Ponies, I've got my teams all messed around. Take the mic from me, Jammer. I need to shut up.
It's alright. It happens to the best of us. Jesse trying to pull off a clutch just as we saw Ryback, but with this positioning and the bomb losing control, I probably don't have a high hope in Jesse's favor here. Time ticking down, and it might even just be a case of trying to hold on to this gun, but they are approaching, pushing forward. And there's an opportunity for a 1v1. Ryback caught looking the wrong way, and mouse is not working, or at least not reacting. It's 25 seconds left.
I always move faster in the direction I'm looking. I think maybe might be the logic here. Smoke goes down. Jesse has the space to claim the bomb. In fact, does do so. MP9 in tow. Holding from Squeaky. Ollie springs the door. Little bit of distraction's gonna be enough to do it. Catches Jesse in the back and puts the second line on the board for the Pit Ponies.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. I'm not sure if the Pit Ponies got a missing sound cue, or someone called something, or if Ryback's mouse issue caused the reposition there. But yeah, that was a weird situation. It's calm though. Pit Ponies pick up the second round, they convert, and SEA Dragons have forced up a little bit of armor and weapons, so there's still an element of danger here.
SEA this time around choosing for a more unified front towards the B site. All pistols, all the time. 3 Tech 9s and a Desert Eagle decorate the team. It's going to be a difficult round for them to play into, but as the utility flies over, here comes the Horde. Can the SEA Dragons defend from it? Spirit Fox finds 2. Zeb combines with another one. 3 on the board for the ponies. While Pink finds 1 in return. It's looking like a bleak situation for Pink.
I was a little bit worried about that setup. The Pit Ponies giving so much space over to SEA Dragons. You'd think that the Pistols could do a bit more there, but just not able to convert many shots, and they get mowed down from that crossfire. Working out well for the Pit Ponies in the end. This is the gun round though, and this is the big question mark. Are the SEA Dragons going to show what they're made of?
Is hoping. First gun round on the board. The SEA Dragons still have tons to play for. First 3 rounds, well, they definitely secure a decent foothold, especially if the Pit Ponies can translate this into a 4th. Doesn't necessarily mean too much in the grand scheme of things. A lot to play for here, and the SEA Dragons have strong economy. It's going to be down to this push on to seemingly the B site for now. 1 minute 30 left on the clock. Where could they go?
Yeah, they're setting up for a B exec. I think just waiting out the monster smoke, but they have no map control to work with. So if they decide not to go for this, or they get shut out towards monster, then there's no hope. But as I say that, the push comes through, returning util. There's so much space on site that they need to hit the shots. They need to take the space. Zeb and Spirit Fox go down for nothing, and that's a big problem for the rest of the Pit Ponies as they try and recover this situation.
Caught a little bit confused as to where they needed to look here. 2 players fall as the SEA Dragons do claim control over the site. Ryback is here, but he's going to find Pink very soon if he doesn't check right. Head finds the way, but it's going to be the gate. Those few shots go into the steel bar instead of Head. It looks like the Pit Ponies might want to cut their losses here. Chow backing off. And it does look like that's going to be the call. 2 A1Ss smuggled into the next round. Definitely a smart tactic here. Spirit Fox doesn't necessarily have the money to fully buy next round. And this way, Pit Ponies can try and make sure that this doesn't turn into a snowball from the SEA Dragons. But the pickup on Rizzy, it's going to be an even better call.
Yeah, when your 2 B-site defenders get nothing done, and then your flank gets eliminated for nothing, you have no hope in the round. So SEA Dragons make a weird situation look good in that scenario. Pit Ponies kind of looked a bit caught off guard, and perhaps, you know, we'll see a bit of conditioning come to play, because SEA Dragons are really looking to pressure this B-site.
All about that pattern recognition. Are the SEA Dragons just here to bait Pit Ponies into going to be the first few rounds? It looks like they're already breaking that pattern, though, so scratch that question. Chow in a very aggressive position. Flashes come through. Not quite able to find the lineup here as 3 members of the SEA Dragons go long. Chow crouches and misses the shot. Joey opens the site wide open. Now the Pit Ponies have to defend with 4 players on the board.
Yeah, real tough spot here. Chow going down like that with a bit of an over-aggressive peak is a big problem, and it puts a lot of pressure onto Ollie. You can see the rotations coming up to defend the A site, but they're not going to have a lot of info to work with, and with so much time left on the clock, this is an open playing field for SEA Dragons, and Rizzy makes things worse. Oh, this is a dire situation for the Pit Ponies now.
Caught like a deer in headlights there. Ollie seemingly peeking for no reason. I'm not sure what the idea was there, but certainly punished for it. Even all that being said, Jammer, with all the action that we've seen, SEA Dragons are still making this rotation to the B side. This is where they want to plant the bomb. Spirit Fox is able to find 1 in trade for all of his fallen comrades. Orp on side. Jesse, a little bit of a guff. I'm glad that we caught that. Put that in the low light reel.
Another low light reel is going to be Spirit Fox trying to hold on to this orb. Being very aggressive with the peak, and Pink is ready for it somehow. In any case, SEA Dragons have come up to fight 3-2 now as we move towards the middle stages of this first half. And I do think one of the big, things moving forward now is the CT economy. We've seen it be pretty much broken in this spot. They can force up a few pistols, but really, you want to try and get it back to a healthy spot so you can contend again, because the SEA Dragons, they're looking to fight.
Yeah, buying down to this 2k mark is seemingly the strategy that the Pit Ponies are going for. It's going to allow them to buy most of their stuff, maybe minus a few utilities here from everyone, but Zeb and Ryback have to see how these pistols work out for them. Scout is an interesting choice here from Ollie. Bit of a force just to try and pick up something. Any kills that they can get in this round are going to be just a little bit of gravy to pull them through to the next round.
Yeah, the scout can be so effective over towards this A site, especially when you've got a player playing up close, but you need to hit the shots, and Ryback's taken down immediately.
Whoa.
Scout does chime in, and that takes one back, but will that send the SEA Dragons going? It will indeed. Zyrex picking up one into Con as well makes things a little bit better, so the rotations are open. They can dictate the pace of the game.
Already value assigned from the scout. Joey gonna clean up Zeb here on this B side and open it up for his team. Jesse runs on through. It's down to the defenders, and Spirit Fox isn't gonna get much done. Just Ollie left standing, scout in tow. Jesse's looking for this flank around, but with the bomb down, just hoping for Ollie to get one more kill here. In the head will do it. One's gonna go. Jesse loses their brain matter. Ollie walks away with 2. Massive value so far for the scout. Looking for more.
I would be amiss to not say this, but Ollie's feeling so audacious. Is taken down by Pink in the end. It's a bit of a head scratcher. I guess they're buying in this round anyway, but I do think keeping that rifle would have helped a little bit in terms of getting more utility, which is so important on Overpass. We'll have to see if they get punished for it. It seems like the Pit Ponies aren't like warded off their confidence. You know, they've still got that with them at least.
I think that's a net overall win, right? Best case scenario, Ollie gets at least one more kill with the AK and, you know, does more damage to the SEA Dragons economy. Hold on. Hold that thought as Pink, through the flash, through the fire and the flames, finds Zeb on the pixel angle. Ryback fires back one as well. Zix falls down and Britney finds an angle, but Ryback with 2 more closes the gap. And the SEA Dragons lose 3. Pit Pony still 2 on the board. 2 for 2 now. Jesse finds another one, breaking on to the B site, leaving only Ryback, who already has 3 skulls on his bracelet. Needs to find 2 more. Jesse here on the flank, looking for some sort of an angle underwards. Ryback's got no idea what's behind him.
Oh, look at this push. Jesse just adding misery to that play. What a nice play from Ryback to recover the situation, but I just got to commend Jesse on getting those opening kills towards B, just peeking out before that smoke, able to recover the situation for the SEA Dragons, and from that point onwards, it was all over whether Ryback knew it or not.
Yeah, beautiful AWPing there from Pink for sure to crack it open, and Pit Ponies. Right, I'll ask you this question, Jammer, as we get into this round. Pistols here on the side of the Ponies, so not expecting too much from them. We saw some really strong gameplay here from the Pit Ponies in these first few rounds. Has something happened to that magic? Have we just seen SEA Dragons warm up? What's going on here?
I think it's a little bit a case of the Pit Ponies trying to take too many individual plays. They're playing a brand of CS that I like to call Hero CS, and when you of a higher skill level than your opponents, then it can work out like Ryback is showing. But when you're not playing with team play and you're just going for those hero plays, it very much depends on, you know, getting those multi-kills, just single players pulling off miraculous rounds, and that's just not a recipe for sustainable success, I'll say.
Well, so far, as you mentioned, Ryback finds 2 with the Deagle and 1 more on the board here thanks to Ollie. Gonna have to face up against Zix here in just a moment, but either way, excellent value so far. AK picked up. It's not gonna matter. Ollie and Zeb both fall down here, but on a full pistol round, finding 3 players, still a lot of value, and we're gonna see the economy booming on the left-hand side. Pit Ponies able to fully buy everything with helmets and all. Meanwhile, the SEA Dragons not really worried for money. Even if they lose the next two rounds here, Jammer, they're in a very comfortable spot, huh?
Yeah, that's a nice spot to be in if you're the SEA Dragons, not having to worry about the economic situation, so that gives you a little bit of a spring in your step going for these aggressive fights to try and get your team the advantage. They've been working really well together, and okay, that's an interesting pickup. Peeking before the smoke, so Chow trying to help his team, but they're kind of stranded in connector now, as you see Ollie just trying to fall back.
Ryback able to translate into a second kill here as well. Jesse falls down. The SEA Dragons don't seem to know what to do with this offense now. They were caught off guard. Now they're in a bit of a tizzy. A-Long seems wide open. we have the benefit of seeing the entire map here, Jammer. They don't, but boy, if they did, they would see the A side is all for the taking. Pink finds Chow somehow. Where does Pink keep finding these kills?
From the top corner of whatever he's aiming for. Honestly, it seems like Pink has got an aimbot and he's locked in, so really nice play from them so far. It will be interesting to see if they can keep this up, and if you can, that's going to be a big boon towards the SA Dragons. I think we should also mention we saw both of these teams have increasingly winning records, you know, losing very few rounds. How are these teams going to respond to going down a few rounds, and can they recover this? Because, oh, this is interesting actually. Right back. Oh, good positioning, and that is a strong crossfire from the Pit Ponies that, see, Dragons just don't expect it. I don't know if they're expecting an empty site or what was going on there.
I'm going to throw a little bit of shade here on the entry fragger. Ziggs barely walks onto site, pulls out a molly, doesn't really clear a lot of angles here. The rest of his team walks in behind him and, well, nothing's cleared, so everyone just gets mopped up. A little bit of miscommunication, I think, there from the SEA Dragons. I'm not sure what the issue was. Either way, Pit Ponies back in the saddle, so to speak, for that last round, and able to bring the score a little closer to even this time around. Very interested in what you were saying, though, here, Jammer. At this point in time, SEA has lost the same amount of rounds in this game, in this map, as they have the rest of the season. How are they going to handle that pressure?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to play into certainly the IGL's mind. You know, how are they going to respond to not coming off with the hottest start that they've seen for the entire season? It's going to be a big question mark that we should keep an eye on, especially as they approach the rest of the T side, which can be so problematic on Overpass. But seems as though so far they've recovered and they've got some ideas.
This time around, Pit Ponies playing a lot more defensively, and I love to see it. SEA Dragons have thrived when they've been able to get these early pickups, and look at Ollie's positioning here. So cheeky, so aggressive, even in this turtle format. Just waiting for someone unexpected to come into his line of sight, but still nice and slow. But 40 seconds on the clock, they've got to commit to a site here soon.
Yeah, this triple stack towards A is actually a really strong setup, especially for getting Ollie into a good position with right back up close to help out. The thing is, I'm not sure what the end approach is from the SEA Dragons. The bomb's rotating back, but you can see this two-man fake towards the A site. It might be a commit just to pull the rotations.
3 people here on B, whereas only 2 defenders. We'll see what happens as Ryback and Jesse find kills for themselves, 1 for 1. Across both sides. The bomb's going to be revealed. 8 seconds on the board. I don't think it's going to be enough time for the Pit Ponies to really react as 2 people fall down. Make that 3. Ziggs finds 1 through the wall, and with just Ryback left standing, the bomb is down, and 4 players from the SEA Dragons bamboozled the defenders and plant down at B. Ryback caught unawares. What happened in the 10 seconds since we were talking about how they're going to finish off this execution?
Honestly, masterful T-side calling there from the SEA Dragons. They show so much presence and use all that util to commit 1 player to the site that the Pit Ponies just fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And as that hit comes through on the A site, you see them burst out onto B with 2-3 monster, and it's just a collapsing of the house of cards from the Pit Ponies defense towards B. Out of position, you just got no hope of retaking that unless you're coordinating it together. But it was just a 1-by-1 setup as they tried to come back in just from what looked like panic.
Well, it's still on the board. You know what? There might be 2 rounds in it, but this is, for all intents and purposes, a fully dead-even game. Both of these teams have looked pretty strong. The SEA Dragons have got the drop on the Pit Ponies a few more times than maybe they would like, but that's hopefully what this tactical timeout is for. They feel like maybe they need just a bit of a breather, think about what they need to do going into round number 11 here. As the Pit Ponies realistically want to win at least 1 more round before heading into the second half. As you mentioned, T-side's going to be rough for them, so as many wins as they can get now are going to help them out dramatically later on.
Chow was cooked here with this one, with a heavy lean towards the B site. I don't know if they're meant to read into this, but it's ended up being a situation where the Pit Ponies are perfectly set up for this play from the SEA Dragons. We've seen this play before, and oh, Chow.
Look at Chow. Gonna find a... Oh! right in the back. Pink, I mean, he doesn't even want to pick up the orb. Apparently, Pink has been picked off perfectly. And now the rotation's coming through, but I don't think anyone from the SEA Dragons really holding for it. Chow's going to come from behind in just a moment here. But now they're charging onto site. Spirit Fox finds 2, finds 3. Only one left, and Rizzy all alone on the site. Ollie finds his back exposed. And the Pit Ponies encircle and perfectly execute on that beautiful net they created for the SEA Dragons.
Yeah, I believe it's Chow that's the caller for the Pit Ponies, but whoever called it, that was absolutely beautiful. No connector presence from the SEA Dragons just means they can walk up and catch the SEA Dragons with their pants down. Really nice play in the end. SEA Dragons have another bye for the last round of the half, and it's going to be a big task to see if they can pull off the last round. But you can see a default now that's a bit more spread out, so they should be caught unawares again.
As you mentioned, just beautiful execution, beautiful punishment of hyper-aggressive play, and now Chow is in a really odd position, stuck in connector against 2. Jesse knows that they're there. It's all going to be about whether or not the rest of his team can bail him out. Chow looks to maybe walk up. Jesse's surely spotted some toes there. But Chow's going to walk up, find some heads, and I'm not sure what he was expecting, but he finds 3 Ts hanging out having a picnic.
Yeah, it's a lot of info that they can at least pass on to the rest of the team. Ollie standing tall towards long toilets, needed to get a little bit more done there. It's panic all around from the Pit Ponies now as they try and figure out what's going on. They've just cleared some monster area, but it might be some false info as we've seen the SEA Dragons be quick on these rotations.
Bomb is still in the bathrooms for now. Ryback gets flashed down. A little bit more information comes around from the team. The Pit Ponies still a little cautious of committing too much. Jesse's going to roll up on Zeb here. Beautiful dodge. That's going to be the return. Zeb finds that, but the information's going to be there is more utility up on a site now that the lurker is gone. Maybe the rotation. No one spotted. The rest of the team. Ryback is sitting pretty on top of the 4x4. And no one's checked that angle. SEA Dragons really had a hard time cracking A this half, huh?
Yeah, that was a really big kill from Zeb on towards B site because it just means Ryback and Spirit Fox can sit pretty on towards A, and that's completely where the SEA Dragons have their downfall. You know, they've been so used to getting those lurks off and pulling the rotations that they get caught a little bit caught off guard when it doesn't work out for them. So yeah, 6-6 at the end of the half. You might be a little bit remiss if you're the Pit Ponies, but it's pretty even as we move into the second half.
Well, I wasn't wrong, even metaphysically, when I said earlier that this game was dead even. It sure is. Now that we're seeing the rotation of sides, we'll have to see the difference in playstyle here. Already a lot more presence sitting connector. Chow is very much not looking in the right direction. Spots an elbow, but Rizzy's gonna swing out and pick up that first kill. One person down already. The Pit Ponies running towards A.
Galloping and trotting their way through. Only one player to meet them, but Joey's quick with it, and that's a headshot that will help things moving forward. There's only site control here for the Pit Ponies. They need to push forward to get a little bit more, but Joey is not helping things out, and Zyrex with the dualies shuts the door in the face of the Pit Ponies. There's no naying today, it's just the SEA Dragons.
I think I'm gonna drown from all those pony-based puns, but the meat grinder there surely making glue out of this T-side team. No, you can't say that. Jesus. The SEA Dragons surely making mincemeat out of this team and selling it at one specific brand supermarket. SEA Dragons looking strong after that first round, but pistols are one thing. Let's see how it moves. Second round in here, Spirit Fox gonna get the drop on Joey. He was just waiting to not be flashed before peeking. Now the Ponies rush out of the gate, find a second in pink.
Oh, man, the trotting is here and there's so many ponies to face. Each of them falling at the next hurdle. And the SEA Dragons, they can't do anything about this.
Happening?
The mauling is just in action.
This was a pistol round! This is a full economy buy from the Pit Ponies and Spirit Fox and Rizzy. I was about to say past each other in the night like ships in the dark, but no, Rizzy spots out the Fox and is going to carve them up nicely. Still, 4 defenders left to find, and a bomb. He's able to pick up Ollie, and that's going to be enough for the CT side player, I think. As the bomb ticks on down, Rizzy still looking for a few more exits, but round certainly secured. And the Pit Ponies, even though they lose Zeb, even though they lose 3 players completely, for no reason, gotta be happy with winning that round after an econ.
Those last few kills are actually quite important for the SEA Dragons. Of course, with the newest economic update, the CT side gets, I think it's $50 extra for each T kill. So that's going to help the money situation a lot. Although it's only helped Rizzy because, of course, they got the kills with the SMG. So I don't know if they're going to force behind this. That's a big call to make. Oh my.
1 rifle and 1 AWP available for the SEA Dragons. That's a lot to put on a defense with only 2 smokes and a Molotov. Meanwhile, across the screen, the Pit Ponies are fully decked out. Only Ollie, who doesn't have a full suite of utility available to him. This has got to work, or the SEA Dragons are going to be in a lot of trouble. Ow!
Zeb stubs his toe. Charles actually answered back with the AWP, so it's a good start from them. I think that was a monster push that was caught lacking. Zeb, though, oh, okay.
Beautiful
Had
play.
to stay alert in that situation. Zyrex put down, it'll help things, and you can see the force buy has not quite worked from the SEA Dragons. I was going to call a lot of attention towards Pink with the AWP. You know, we've seen them have so much impact, and of course the old age tale of the AWP impact on overpass is going to be instrumental. They have rotated into place in time, so there's still actually a world where Pink can come up clutch.
And this is something that we can refer back to our earlier discussion, Jammer, whereas we saw SEA Dragons really rotate and flow. It really seems like the Pit Ponies have an idea in mind and they want to execute on it. This time around, though, A site fully smoked off. It's going to be all down to finding Pink here. With that AWP, Joey, beautiful support, but Rizzy falls down in the back. Joey finds another. Zeb finally takes off one of the defenders, and now Pink is pincered between 2 players. With this AWP, is not an ideal situation. Bomb is not in favor of the Pit Ponies. They got to cross right in front of that big gun to be able to find it. They got 2 players. Can they find the sniper?
Oh, this is so smart. Oh, no.
Oh, no. There goes 1. Here's the shot for the repeat, but it's not going to matter. Pink doesn't care where you position to. Doesn't care how many players you have. He's going to hunt all your skulls and clean it up. The force buy pays off in the least expected way possible. And the SEA Dragons claim a second round here in the second half, putting them 8-7 over their rivals.
That is the power of the AWP on overpass, ladies and gentlemen. Playing in towards the toilets area, just hitting every shot they need to come up clutch, and the Pit Ponies just look a bit shell-shocked, only able to retrieve some pistols in towards this round. Chow buying up an AK, so maybe a bit of a overbuy here in this situation. We'll have to see how it works out, but initial standings are looking good towards A.
If they couldn't force buy on a silly round, so can we, right, guys? Rizzy says no, but Spirit Fox with the deagle says actually maybe yes. Rizzy finds a second, and well, it's pretty standard fare here. Although saying that, Chow just pick up another one, and that is going to open a way onto B site. Only 1 defender here, Jesse with the FAMAS. The utility comes through. It's going to be down to Jesse to find them. Definitely heard the steps, but the blind is going to be big. Is it going to matter? Not really. 2 defenders, 2 offenders taken off the map. Jesse does excellent work there, slowing down the T's.
Yeah, really good play from Chow to flash his teammates out. Not the best luck with the play and the kills from the CT side defender, but I was going to say, it doesn't really feel like they have much of a hope in this situation. You know, there's just so many areas that CT players can be in, and without having some utility to buy some space on site, you can't really do too much with that situation. Unlucky for Chow, but a valiant attempt from the Pit Ponies nonetheless. It is looking like we're moving towards the SA Dragons domination on the CT side, though.
Domination is such a precarious statement, though, and Jammer, cast your mind back to the first half of this round, right? Yeah, sure, Pit Ponies were able to pick up round 2, but 3 wins, 1 loss so far is pretty on the board. It's exactly, not in the same exact round-for-round stats, but overall, this is exactly the same position Pit Ponies were in last time around. It's going to all come down to this one to see if they can break Patton and Pink already deciding that he doesn't want that to happen. One falls down. 45 situation, all pistols. It's going to be rough in any situation. Joey finds one. Scratch that, make that two. But Ollie is able to find one in return. And, well, maybe I was a little optimistic. And Zoe's going to put that final nail in the metaphorical coffin.
Yeah, the tricky thing about overpasses, as long as you show some forward presence, it makes the life of the T side very difficult moving towards that A site. There's so much space between Fountain and the actual site that you can set up in so many different ways and buy time for those rotations to come through, just like we saw happen. So, yeah, unfortunate for the Pit Ponies, can't do more with the pistols there. We'll have to see what they can do with the rifles, though.
Such an interesting point that you made there, Jammer. We saw SEA Dragons really prioritize this B side in most of their T side rounds. This time around, though, the Pit Ponies really seem to favor A more, but trying to go for a fastest execution here on B. Nothing really has come through other than the Pit Ponies taking some residual damage. SEA Dragons are really entrenched here, and it's going to be difficult for the Pit Ponies to really position themselves properly for this.
Yeah, the AWP being there just makes things so much harder, and you can see it's a 4-player setup from the CT side on this B site. The util has to be perfect for them to be able to hit this site cleanly.
They've made such a commitment here. Almost strikes me, Jammer, that they should try and rotate off and go back to A to try and throw some of the SEA Dragons, who are now so entrenched, off guard. But it's going to be Zeb, the first person to find a pickup here, but scratch that, Jesse finds the visual and picks up the kill, make that 2. Rizzy finds one of his own, and with Zix combining, Pit Ponies wiped off the face of the map. Pink finds a stray right back in his crosshair. Puts the end of that. 2 rounds standing between the SEA Dragons and the end of the first map. And while the Pit Ponies looked strong coming at the start, it's starting to fall off for them. They really need to dig deep and come back into this second half now.
Yeah, not quite able to transform into their full stallion form, stuck as ponies as they get crushed by the CT side. And I think, their idea in the last round of cutting noise was, in principle good, but you really need to be prepared for that counteraction, that counter push from the CT side, because they need to get info. The whole point of cutting noise is making the CT side sweat and making them go for those info plays. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to be punished like we just saw. So Pit Ponies, this is the same thing I've been saying all season, or even previous seasons, nice ideas, but a little bit lacking in the execution in some regard.
Deciding this round will be the last sacrifice to go all out for the final hope. Pit Ponies here banking on either coming up big on this eco or forcing it to an overtime on overpass. They play out the last few rounds on the SEA Dragons as map pick. Zix finds one straight away. Chow falls. Has to do his IGLing from the gray screen, I'm afraid. None of the SEA Dragons look too bothered so far. The Pit Ponies need to find an angle to get on here, and it looks like it's going to be B. Never mind.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the Pit Ponies were trying to pull an SEA Dragons with the push and pull rotations, but with the pistols, it can only have limited effect. Nice kill from Spirit Fox, buys a bit of space, but a 1 versus 3 is out of the question, surely.
Yeah, with the Deagle in tow and too many angles to cover by themselves, getting 2 pickups here is still strong. The Pit Ponies needed to come up in a big way, and while it might not seem it, 2 extra kills does go just far enough to make sure that Ollie can pick up this AWP. Everyone else can buy armor and AKs and a full range of utility. This is the Pit Ponies' last stand. They need this round to go well to have a chance of staying in this and not put them at match point on their own map. The SEA Dragons, though, sitting very pretty. Even if they lose this, they have a lot of money to play with.
So much money, they're rolling in it, and it's not going to matter because they're hitting their bullets as well. Won't even need to dip into the reserves. The economy is looking so healthy, and the Pit Ponies, they're so keen to pressure this area so much that they're forgetting about the long area. Ollie, 6th Sense triggers, but Joey picks up 2, and that is just a testament to how confident and how strong these SEA Dragons players are. You can knock them down, but they're never out.
That being said, the Pit Ponies have done a lot of work in this map. 7 rounds of the SEA Dragons is no small feat. And as I've already mentioned plenty of times, there's more rounds in this one map that the SEA Dragons have lost than they have the entire rest of the season. If Pit Ponies can translate this onto their own map where they feel maybe a little bit more confident, we could definitely see this going to a 3rd game, but this one's not over just yet. These two players have shown us that they have the skills needed to make something happen. 30 seconds left on the board. Pit Ponies creeping towards this A site. 2 defenders to find.
Sea Dragons teed up perfectly to close their map pick up. Oh, there's a good spot from Pink. Not able to convert, but Zyrex has this one locked in. That is an easy cleanup for the 13-7 finish. This first map of the best of 3 will fall towards the Sea Dragons, but the Pit Ponies are not out of it just quite yet. We are going to be heading towards Inferno next, but if you're the Pit Ponies, coach or IGL, how do you kind of bring some spirit back into your players? Because it kind of looked like towards the end, they just kind of petered out into nothing.
Yeah, definitely looking at what we were talking about earlier, right, Jammer? Where we were talking about this mental attitude, this momentum-based play. They started off so strong, 3 rounds under the belt straight away. Hey, guys, this is the best team in the league, and we're kind of owning? And then 1 round loss goes their way, another, and it just kind of piles up. You gotta think, is this partly that? We also talked a little bit about Overpass being this, really experience-heavy map. This was the SEA Dragons pick, so we could talk about that. We could talk about how maybe Inferno is going to be a little bit of a better ground for them. But I'm going to hang a big but on that little hook that I've just crafted there onto the wall. We talked about Overpass being this weird, slightly off-meta pick, right? That some players might have a lot of time in, some others might not. Can't say the same thing for Inferno. So if the hopes of the Ponies is riding on their own map pick going their way, I think they're going to have to play a little bit more confidently. They're going to have to really steal their resolves.
That is a very cogent point you bring up. Inferno is one of the most played out maps in best of 3 formats that we've ever seen. It's up there with the likes of Mirage and Dust 2. So you're definitely right that the experience and the kind of game sense should be a bit more even across the board. The other kind of counter to that, I'd say, is in previous seasons of the SEA, or also the Sea Dragons, like these players that I've seen have been so strong on this map. Yeah, I think especially the likes of like Rizzy and Zyrex. I'm not sure what positions they're playing this season, but I believe in previous seasons Zyrex has been playing towards the pit area and has just been an absolute monster in that position. So if they're gonna show up like I've previously seen them play, then I'm low-key thinking this might be a 2-0 kind of done real quick kind of matchup. But we'll have to wait and see. The Pit Ponies, there's definitely a hope for them. They're moving on to their map pick. This is the one that they should have prepared for the most. They should have the most comfortability on it. And so that should kind of give them a lifeline in towards things. But I'm a little bit worried right now.
I don't know. Jammer, I'm gonna, for all that I've just said, I'm gonna take that butt off the hook over here and say that even though we're talking about Inferno and it's a very neutral map, both of these teams should have tons of experience on it. If the Pit Ponies were able to, at the very least, creep towards what very much looked like it could be a win for them at 1 or 2 different points on a map that they, based on how they were playing that T side, probably weren't as experienced on. I'm very hopeful for how they're going to come back into a map that they are actually comfortable on. So I don't know, if you're calling this a likely 2-0, I'm placing my bets on the other team. I think Ponies have a real shot at taking Inferno here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you per se, but I'll honestly, I would put real money on this. So we'll see if you're game for that kind of situation. But in any case, I do believe we have some kind of highlights to look through and kind of look through the progression of the map together. If we're able to pull those up at some point and kind of look back at what we just witnessed. I do think the big talking point moving forward is, the Sea Dragons. They're the spiritual defending champions. They're a map up in this grand finals. Are they going to be able to retain their title, or are we going to see, after I think it's like 5-ish seasons in a row? I might be wrong with that. Just speculating. Of the SCA Dragons kind of defending this title and being like, I mean, it's almost a mountain or a league of difference, but at least, I think you're right in crediting the Pit Ponies this season, that they have looked contentious at some points, and they have at least brought the fight to the Sea Dragons. So, yeah, it's a big kind of overarching question that we'll have to answer moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and have a look at those replays while we take a quick break before we get into game number 2 Inferno coming up.
guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little break and those lovely replays from production. Very nice to see those in effect for this season. Yeah, returning back to this match, we're moving towards Inferno now, and we've both kind of talked about how this is a staple of the CS community. It's kind of been in the map for what seems like forever, with the likes of Mirage and Dust 2. How do you kind of see things moving forward, or I should say, what do you see as the win conditions moving forward?
Well, I think one thing that two things that we can take away from that last map, Gemma, is how well and how strong the Pit Ponies were on this CT side, and how strong the SEA Dragons were on this T side. And, you know, we all know that classically, Inferno is a CT-sided map, right? It's got so many angles for you to move back to, defend, take a small fight, move back to another angle, etc., etc. There's lots of space to kite and maneuver. And I think if we can see the Pit Ponies really play that CT side super well, I think that's going to give them a lot of space to maneuver for the rest of this match.
Yeah, it is the name of the game, having your CT side setups done properly and using your utility effectively in towards Banana. This knife round's gone a bit awry as Chow has just massacred their whole team, so IGL really taking things to another level, showing their players that it's not good enough. We need to step up in this matchup.
This is punishment for losing the last game, surely.
Yeah.
And here we go, just waiting on SEA to decide whether or not they want to stick to the CT. I can't imagine a world where they would want to switch to T-side first, especially if we're talking about that momentum, right? If we go off the assumption, we haven't seen Pit Ponies play T-side Inferno yet today, if we go off the assumption that this team is better at that CT side, forcing them onto their weaker angle, their weaker foot, to begin with, is gonna only be a boon for SEA.
Yeah, absolutely. Kit brought up some utility from the Pit Ponies. Going to be interested to see where that's utilized. It can definitely be a helpful prospect in towards getting towards a site, and it looks like we're actually heading towards A, so plenty of stuff to work with to buy some space. Pink spotting a lot of info.
Hearing a lot of info.
Yeah, there's no rotation though, just... as I say that, it comes through. You can hear all those stomping ponies through the apps, and it's going to be a round-the-world maneuver as they retreat back towards middle.
But I don't think that they left it long enough. They didn't start walking soon enough because they've been red. The SEA Dragons are on their way back to B. This could be disastrous for the Pit Ponies if they don't play this well. Rizzy breaks the offense to begin with, but Ryback and Zeb combine to take off two of the defenders, not the entrenched ones though. There's still new boxes. Joey standing strong, finds one, but Ollie finds the return. Now in a 2v3 situation, the Pit Ponies have just planted the bomb, and Pink here on the church side. SEA Dragons have two angles covered, but now the Pit Ponies have entrenched themselves. It's going to be a tough nut to crack for the first round.
Yeah, absolutely, Jesse. So many angles to worry about. They have no idea if Banana's clear, and so they should be taken out by Ryback, I should say. Pink, no. Missing all their shots, and Ryback's able to turn back onto them. That is a nice play from the Pit Ponies. And the one thing I'll say, actually, as a commendation towards that Pit Pony strat is, it actually managed to dismantle the set play that Sea Dragons had set up on towards B site. You know, you did see them falter a little bit towards rotating and then rotating back, and they just weren't quite in the same setup for that B hit as they would have been at the very start of the round. So, a pretty inventive idea.
Yeah, definitely something to be said for not even necessarily forcing a rotation to get a player offside, but just forcing a rotation to put a player out of position. And then fully taking advantage of it. Although this time around, look at where the SEA Dragons have positioned themselves. They all only have pistols, and they're looking to play as such. But Pit Ponies are very quickly going to find out that B is completely wide open. The bomb hasn't been committed, but it also isn't safe as 4 Dragons roam down mid. The bomb is in a terrible position. Pink is already finding one.
Oh, I don't know what quite happened there, but it seems like the USP is actually getting some damage done. Damage dealt, but it's all been for naught as it's just Jesse left alive. 1 versus 3, and there's a few Mac 10s to recover, so they could probably farm up a bit of money. But yeah, that was looking really chaotic for a second.
Such a shame that Piponi's nearly had a full free onto B site. A little bit of confusion, I think. Piponi's maybe not quite being able to translate shots how they should have been able to for players walking down mid. A full, wide open range, no one looking at, I forget who it was down in the pit there. Might have been Ollie. But not quite able to translate really any kills off the back of that. Doesn't really bite them in the butt too much, but 2 people falling on a pistol round isn't the ideal situation, and is going to give the SEA Dragons just enough money to kit out a ton of rifles, even if 2 of them are from Temu.
I don't like this Pit Ponies force buy philosophy. You know, it's the first gun round of play, and you've got 4 MAC-10s. I guess they've got to play in towards this rush B, but it might lead to their downfall. We'll have to see. First entry from Spirit Fox, as I jumble up my words, and there's a jumble from Zyrex towards the back of site. Help from Pink rotates in. There's a few more players coming, but it's a B site forfeit.
Oh. Pink finds the planter through the smoke. The bomb hasn't gone down, and they are being surrounded. The SEA Dragons, in 1 kill, have been able to fully put a stop on the Pit Ponies round. 1 MAC-10 and 1 Galil. And the HE grenade is going to take Chow off the map. Bomb is down, but now Ryback is in a terrible position to be able to stop at the fusel. SEA Dragons think he's still on site. Ryback is going to reveal his position. Now has to fight off Dragons from all sides. 1 left, Jesse. It's a fine, but 3 HP on the T-side player. That bomb had gone down any sooner, Jammer. If that kill from Pink hadn't have gone through, that is a Ponies round any day. But that 1 spray through the smoke from Pink secured it for the SEA Dragons.
Yeah, I was talking about the downfall of MAC-10s, but really it was just good play from the Sea Dragons rotating in to recover the situation that helped them out, and good team play in the end to trade off each other, but it got ever so close. Ryback has been such a star for the Pit Ponies so far, and I think that's the big win condition for me personally. If Ryback pops off and gets a few more helping hands from the rest of the team, then they might just be able to pull off a comeback.
And now the map breathes. And it might not sound like breathing because there's a ton of fire going on, but that's just normal Inferno sounds. No need to panic. It is literally in the name, absolutely. And the map breathes. Both of these teams now full buys. -1 MAC-10. Not MAC-10, MP9 from Ziggs here. So we go back to a more neutral standpoint. 1-2, the scores on the board. The SEA Dragons on a 1-round deficit. The Pit Ponies now playing a little slower, a little bit more methodical this time around. Only 2 defenders on B, 3 on A. As the Ponies are just trying to feel out the defenders here. Utility comes through, and while the grouping says B, the Ponies still aren't sure.
Yeah, Ponies cut noise as they take some space towards top mid and retrieve the bomb. So moving into the final stage of the round, there's a lot of space for the Pit Ponies to work with, and it looks like they're actually retreating back. So all that noise has been effective in pulling the rotations, and it might be a perfect setup as they maneuver towards A. Chow will commit behind this, but that's the only committal, and you can see the scrambling rotations back towards A as the Sea Dragons realise the jig is up. 24 seconds though, time could be a factor. Joey, standing tall and towards the pit, can only be good for 1, and the rotations coming through actually are effective, but the bomb will go down in this 2 versus 3.
Someone check Pink's PC, because that is too many players through too many smokes for him to have gotten in 4 rounds. Another player falls now. The Pit Ponies, while the bomb is down, they have to play a 2v3 retake situation. The SEA Dragons come barreling onto site. 1 falls down. Zeb finds credit for that one. And Spirit Fox on the cross finds 2 more. Not enough juice in the tank for the SEA Dragons. And the Ponies clear even more distance, putting 2 rounds between them and the team with 1 map under their belt already.
The Sea Dragons are looking to be drowning right now. Their CT side being called into question, and the Pit Ponies are pushing and pulling those rotations so effectively in this situation. Again, with the buy with the Mac 10s, it's a bit of a question mark for me, as there's still an element of danger here from the Sea Dragons. They've got some util, they've got some rifles, or a rifle and some SMGs, and look at this apps push. This is going to be dangerous.
Zergs is playing aggressively here, as are all the offenders here. From the SEA, Pink gets an aggressive kill. Thinks he's about to pick up a better weapon, but nope, just an SMG traded from Chow. Pit Ponies now creeping up. They have control of the B pit. All hell is about to break loose any moment now as the rotation is caught, but it turns away at the worst minute. Joey manages to sneak in under the gun. Rizzy falls down, and Ziggs is able to find a kill onto Ollie in the meantime. Charging through, blinded. Ziggs on 1 HP. That's all he needs to find another kill, and Ryback, last man left standing, AK betwixt his thumbs, has to find 4. With 50 seconds left on the board, it is looking dicey for the last player of the Pit Ponies.
The Pit Ponies get so much space towards the B site, but the wraps on the wraps are what leads to their downfall, and the Pit Ponies just get caught off guard after they think that they're the ones in the driver's seat. Really good rotations from the Sea Dragons and good utility behind their pushes to just eliminate any threats. Without the bomb down, Ryback has no hope in this 1 versus 4, but some damage done will at least help if they can get anything. That's 1. That's 2 more players to find, and it's actually good for 2 kills, so Ryback, again, getting some consolidation frags. Won't be much else more than that.
Ryback so close there, but one for the distraction of one player falling from the literal sky. I think he has a decent chance of picking up at least 3, although the shotgun running at him from behind might have been a small issue. We'll never get to find out how that round would have played out this time around. The Pink Ponies, that's not quite right. The Pit Ponies. I'm thinking about the club, you know.
Pink is owning them right now.
I just want to keep on dancing at the Pit Pony Club or something along there's a joke there somewhere. Pink is the first one to find a kill in this round, though. Zeb takes the spill. The one man with an AK, quite able to find anything this time around. Zoe with a beautifully placed HE grenade reveals 2. Or do they reveal themselves? Joey falls down. It's a 1v1 trade for now. Jesse in apartments with the swag. 7 finds 1, but Ryback rolls on down with the deagle. Now Pink. Surely they find Spirit Fox on the right-hand side there. The spray down isn't no match for the Spirit Fox.
How do they get away with that? Zyrex, though, trying to come in, and Ryback in a 1 versus 2 clutch. Deagle in hand, and a dream that he managed to connect. 3 kills in the round, and he puts a 4th up for the Pit Ponies.
Ryback had exactly 6 health more than he needed. My dude was absolutely chilling. How they managed to get away with that, I will never be able to tell you. This set has given me more hope in ecos, in force buys, and might make me listen to my Gold Nova 2 teammates going, no, force buy Mac 10s, trust me, it'll work.
Everything is trusting in Ryback right now. Such an impactful set of kills, and this is putting them in such a great standing moving forward. Straight up banana rush, getting a lot of space towards the start of this one, but there is a few players behind these smokes to meet them.
3 stacked here towards B. Only 2 defenders on the other side of the map. Although even that looks a bit dicey as Pink looks to rotate, potentially. He's thinking about it. Zeb does spot out Zyrex, but on the counterpoint, Zyrex spots out Zeb. It's going to be a little bit of information here as the AK is lifted on high. Just to see if Spirit Fox can see a defender. Look at this, the rotation from Ziggs. He's already come through. And the SEA Dragons have lost 1 more defender towards B-side just before all the util comes through. And now they're charging on.
I can't believe they're rotated away from this. Rizzy with such a big task, and they can only get 1 kill in towards this defense. Hard prospect for a retake, but with 3 up banana, there's definitely an element of threat here. 40
seconds on the clock. Pit Ponies have to hold out for at least that long.
Oh no!
And the Spirit Fox jumps out from the sandbags a little early, isn't able to translate any amount of kills. Chow burning, but finds 2 and drags them down with him. Jesse, the last one here to find a kill in combination with Ryback. Sorry, in combination with Ziggs. And it's just not enough time. The Pit Ponies needed exactly 6 more seconds to close that one out. Just barely. If any more damage was able to be dealt by Spirit Fox in that moment, everything could have been different, but just a little too itchy on the trigger finger.
I mean, that's just so reminiscent of that 3 versus 5 Falcons loss towards MIBR. You know, that banana setup just falls apart from the aggressions, and the entire defense on that post plant just falls apart. Pit Ponies caught lacking a little bit there, so surprised to see, especially with how confident they've been so far. They are going to force up in this situation, and I almost want to call a pause for them, because this is the audacious set of buys that we've seen them have. They've got so much space towards top mid, though.
Yeah, look at this, all the way through. In fact, so through that, look at where the team leader is. There is a player all the way in CT spawn. Surely Rizzy doesn't expect to see him, but Chow's gonna find one anyway. It's not gonna stop the rest of his team, though, from getting put into the blender. Jesse finds 2. And despite the early map aggression, Joey has dismantled this team, leaving Ryback by themselves. Yeah, he's holding an AK, but he's got 4 to find here. 3 to find here. Never mind, I should be quiet.
Put some respect on Ryback's name, as they are lethal in the server right now. A few more players to find is just numbers on a tally board in Ryback's eyes, and they're going to creep forward, going to continue to pressure the CT side, and if they even just pick up 1 more kill, that will at least keep the economy honest. Rizzy, counterpart right in front of them. The timing's not going to match up, and Ryback's going to be caught in the side. Rizzy will close things out, and it is an even keel 4-4 right now as we move forward in towards the end of the first half. The Sea Dragons, this has been so back and forth, but they finally strung 2 rounds together.
It's an odd position to be in if you're the Pit Ponies here. 4 rounds under your belt on your own domestic map pick. Forced yet again onto only pistols. Though, as we were saying at the start of this, Jammer, we are, and this is fully speculative, expecting the T-side to be the Pit Ponies' weaker half here. And being able to drag out as many rounds as possible is going to be a giant boon for them going forward if they're able to play the CT side as well as we think that they might be able to. It's going to come down to whether or not they can pick up, I think, at least 1 more round. 2 would be excellent, but they can close this out with 5. I think the Pit Ponies can be in a good spot.
Just trying to wait out the utility here on the Pit Ponies. They're posturing in towards middle, and there's so many players on the other side of these walls. I'm not sure they're aware of the danger. Ryback will get taken down, and that's the danger man as well as Ollie. So the Pit Ponies kind of sent scurrying away. The more aggression actually from Rizzy, and Chow's gonna walk through a smoke. I definitely don't recommend that one. Spirit Fox now just left on their lonesome, looking at the bodies of their teammates. Won't be long for this world. Rizzy locks it in with 2, and I think one talking point that we can talk about is the resurgence of Rizzy. We've seen this player have so much impact in some of these situations, and these retake situations especially. I think if Rizzy's going to show up, then that's going to make things so much harder for the Pit Ponies.
I just need to put this out there, ladies and gentlemen, in the audience. That is how your eco rounds are supposed to go. If you force every round, that is what's going to happen in your games. You are not Ryback. You are not Spirit Fox. You are not Rizzy. Put the Galils away. Pit Ponies, on the other hand, trying to make a play here down Banana, not quite being as aggressive as they have been. Maybe stemmed a little bit in the confidence after losing the last 3 rounds in a row. Have to formulate some kind of a plan, and that plan apparently involves taking control of apartments this time around. Though Rizzy, sitting on top of the quad, is going to be an interesting position for them to have to dislodge. Ryback is going to be in such a bad situation, but Chow picks up 1. Could be enough to distract the rest of his team. Never mind. On the top. Pit Ponies have so many players to find if they want to come down to the A site.
Oh, RKO from the top rope as aggression's in middle, and it's worked out perfectly for Pink. 3 kills in this round, or 4 even, as I say. The bomb is dropped in towards top middle, and Ollie just no hope in this situation. What a play from the Sea Dragons to just go all guns blazing in towards mid.
Oh no, Ollie about to get taken out from behind. Surely this can't be another knife pick. Never mind, Pink deciding to play it safe. Goes for the head. And the SCA team pick themselves up their 6th round, halfway to victory. While the Pit Ponies are starting to get left behind a little bit, they need to pick up the pace. Try and get themselves back into this. It's looking like it's going to be another full save for them. Just a little bit of money spent, hoping for that last round. As I said, I think if they can end this half 7-5, they're in a pretty solid spot going into the CT side, but it's going to be a tough one if they can't find some sort of foothold to play off of.
Yeah, a lot of options, and they're going to go for the long play, but they're running into their demise. Pink with the ace in the last round is going to tally up 3 in the start of this one, and that's just such a dangerous player to come up against. Pink is firing on all cylinders right now.
Ryback going to find a dink there onto Jesse. The head armor's going to save them for now, but Spirit Fox finds a second, and 2 pickups here is pretty solid. The eco round, being able to find that many kills, it's gonna put at least enough food on the table for the Pit Ponies to have a decent meal coming into the final round of the first half. This is so important, Jammer. As I'm sure you well know, the difference between starting the second half 8-4 versus 5-7 is monumental. And the Pit Ponies really need to find a way in. Make sure that their second half has some legs.
Yeah, shift of work presented for the Pit Ponies, and Ollie's going to be taken down straight away from the AWP on the CT side. Pink with continued impact. It seems like, honestly, they're a little bit shell-shocked right now. They're looking a bit cautious, a little bit lost almost in the server. They need to recover this.
A little bit of whining here from the dead Ollie, who has struggled to find his footing so far in this match. The rest of the team seems unaffected. We'll see how the server call goes. An admin has been called for. We'll see if that's an actual complaint that holds any water, or maybe just some salty tears. As the Pit Ponies look for a potential translation here onto A, but still so far undecided. Bomb just about to be collected. There's a lot of tentative here, there, and everywhere from this team.
Yeah, you can bring the Pit Ponies to water, but all they've found so far is a fiery inferno. CT side of the Sea Dragons has been so strong, and I think with the confidence that they've been playing with, if they can carry that onto the T side and they start off with a strong pistol, this might be all said and done, but got to get to that point first. Final round of the half to play. The Pit Ponies have finally figured out where they want to approach things. Esports comes through, and Rizzy been such a thorn in their side, but Zyrex is the one that has a lot of pressure.
In that position, takes out Chow. Zerx, though, is traded off. Chow does their job. The entry fragger trades themselves out, and this time it's Pink getting straight through this bro.
Oh.
But hold on, Rizzy runs through. Spirit Fox jumps off the plant to take down the defender. Gonna be successful. Jesse finds an angle. Spirit Fox falls down. 2 Ts left, 2 CTs to find. But the health bars are all important, and while Joey is on the wrong end of the stick, last man left standing, Ryback puts an arrow through his head and cleans it up, narrows the gap, and brings Pit Ponies to a very manageable 2-round deficit going into the CT half.
You can kind of see how the confidence has led Rizzy into a full sense of success, just diving through the smoke, spraying the sandbag on the default plant. A little bit unlucky there, but you can kind of see how sometimes confidence can lead to your own demise. We'll have to see how the Sea Dragons approach the second half. And it all starts with this all-important pistol. No kit from the Pit Ponies this time. And I think previously we've seen them pick up at least one. So looking to stop any sort of advance and not even have to worry about a post-plant situation.
Very slow play here. SEA Dragons, they want to be methodical. They don't want to give away too much information before revealing their intent. And the Pit Ponies might be unprepared, but look at this. The rotation already coming through. Spirit Fox looking to find a secondary angle. Ollie as well on his way. Gonna Noise comes through, and no one's expecting it. Right back for the first kill. Zeb on the cross.
No.
And it's a massacre. The SEA Dragons are caught between two players, and while Pink struggling to find two, Zeb might be third on the chopping blocks, but with 10 HP left, there is just too much heat to handle, and while Pink puts up a more than respectable fight there. The Pit Ponies claim their first round, and can we talk about the fact that Pink is on 20 kills to 9?
Absolutely shift of effort from Pink. He even had to get the ace in that last pistol round to pull things over the line, so a bit too tall of a task even for them. But this has been such a kind of one-sided game from the Sea Dragons, I should say, that now that they've lost a pistol round, how are they going to approach things moving forward? What can they do to come back into things? And it's going to be a no-buy situation here, so going to try and stack all their eggs in towards the rifle round. The other question is, on the other side, the Pit Ponies haven't looked like they've had a lot of confidence. So is this enough rounds? Is this enough of a string of confidence for them to kind of get back into the flow of things?
It's yet to be seen here from the Pit Ponies. So far, so good, but another B cool. Another meat grinder. What did they do to deserve this? Zeb and Ryback eat through the SEA Dragons. No hope left, and that narrow gap of 2 rounds coming into the second half has now been closed, as is the window for SEA Dragons to exploit. Back on even footing, and the Pit Ponies are definitely back to form.
Absolutely. Ryback chiming in again. A 3-man stack up towards the B site, but you can see the Sea Dragons, they're looking to move towards A, so rereading and overreading from each of the teams. Oh, so much aggression through middle, actually. Ollie, so many players in front of you have had trouble so far. It's only good for one, and that means so much more pressure for Spirit Fox, trying to buy some space. What a audacious push that was. In the meantime, the other players are trying to rotate in, but this is a 2 versus 3 that's left wanting.
Yeah, 3 AKs versus a shotgun and an MP9. I'll give you 3 guesses as to who's gonna win. And you better not bet on the wrong horse. The Pit Ponies have to come in here. Molotov for the Pit is gonna be good, but they're traded out. Zerk's put in an unfavorable position. If Chow can just peek out slightly, he might be able to find the head of an offender. Jumps from the top and finds the team player, Joey. Trades that one out, but Sam running around, massacring them, puts everyone in his teeth, and says, actually, this point is ours!
Chow, RKO from the top rope, and that sets things up for Zeb to come in clutch, running with the MP9. That gun is still too strong. The Pit Ponies, they win the first gun round, and that's ever so important moving forward.
Why would you ever not play with a gun that you can so accurately run around with and make mincemeat of your opponents? The SEA Dragons now in a tough spot. Yes, they all have rifles. Yes, they all have armor, but next to no utility here for the T-side team. Meanwhile, it's a full complement for the Pit Ponies, who are sitting pretty 3 rounds in a row. Can they keep it going? The Dragons need to find a new way, because so far just running B has not been working out for them. Chow here with the shotgun. Finds Jesse.
Oh no.
Hold on B site. Rizzy's finding 2. This is wide open now for the T's.
Zeb was in a flash setup, and I think they just wait way too long to call that in. The T-side just slow crawls up Banana, giving no info, and because of that, Zeb doesn't know when to call the flash in time. They just get caught completely unawares, and the Sea Dragons can take full advantage. This should be a save with the util, but I don't know if the Pit Ponies are going to be smart to go for this. They just get massacred towards CT.
I'm at a loss for words. I have many questions. I have many thoughts and feelings about A, the initial death of the B side, B, the decision from the Pit Ponies to send all 4 remaining players down B main, rather than splitting them up to attack from multiple angles. They certainly had the time. And I'm just, yeah, as you mentioned, belaying that, even just going for the save. But now this time around, Spirit Fox able to get into a decent position, making a decent advantage of the aggression. 2 found in favor of the Pit Ponies, but what an odd round, jumping off the balcony. Spirit Fox is gonna get flashed, but find a kill. Pink cleaning some people up. What is going on?
I have no idea what prompted Spirit Fox to go for that play, but they're able to get a kill from it, and suddenly it's all onto the shoulders of Pink. Jesse eliminated Ryback and Zeb, 2 of the star performers on this Inferno, on their counterparts. They're setting up very passively though, so giving Pink the respect and the space they deserve. The real question is, are they going to have a strong enough post-plant setup coming into this to win this 1 versus 2?
Ryback is in a really strong position, but he's just been spotted out, although they've spotted each other here. One-tap potential is strong here from Pink, 2 to find. Bomb is down, and in a lot of ways, that bomb acts as a second man, but it's going to be Pink. Can't quite find the 1v1 against Zeb, and after a little stumble in their last round, Pit Ponies are going to come back from this, but taking a look at the money situation here, Jammer, it's going to be a really interesting one from Pit Ponies. They don't have a lot of money for the next round.
Yeah, keeping 2 alive and bringing these rifles in towards the next is a big deal. They can drop these over and that at least gets them a full buy. On the other side of things, the Sea Dragons, they're kind of starting to peter down in their funds. They've gone through their reserves at this point, and so if they lose this next round and they're not able to at least get a few kills, then you should see the economic advantage towards the Pit Ponies. It all depends on how many kills each side is able to get.
9 and 8 are the scores on the doors right now. And ladies and gentlemen, if you had any doubts that the Pit Ponies could fight into the SEA Dragons, I hope this clarifies. This team is not here to roll over and capitulate. They're here to fight. And with 4 rounds between them and the end of this game, the SEA Dragons have to pick up the pace. They've lost 4 of the last 5. CT side has not been favorable to them. The Pit Ponies have looked so strong on the defending side here. Chow, kind of, even with this full complement of economy available to him, really liking this XM in the apartments. Just such an exploitable, tight space for this shotgun.
I'll be honest, Chow has seemed like a player that's played more in towards the mental disrespect aspect of the game than any other player this season. If you were to compare them to a tier 1 pro, I'd maybe compare them to like Apex, you know, pulling on that full disrespect kind of mentality to kind of eat away at the mindset of your opponents. But it's going to be remain to see if it's actually had any effect, especially against the team of the caliber of the Sea Dragons. You can see, though, as we get towards the last 30 seconds, this is going to be an all-out battle towards B.
Spirit Fox in just such an odd position here. Look at the trigger discipline. Unless I'm reading my map completely wrong, which I do believe I am. Never mind. There is a blue dot on the map that is not a CT player. Ryback, though, is going to find one. Jesse falls at a second in the hands of Ryback. Chow with the XM comes back around and finds Pink. That must have been a little visual bug there on the screen for me, because number 0, which is all the players, as you see on the minimap there, ladies and gentlemen, are numbered. Number 0 is a nice little blue token, and that made me very confused. I apologize.
It's alright, it happens to the best of us. I think the key thing to mention about the end of that round is Chow with emotional damage just running through with a shotgun. and it works so well, able to bring up that AWP into the next.
He's just picked up the long-range shotgun this time, and hold on, that's a lot of damage from the HE grenades. SEA Dragons, they're going for broke, they're charging it down. This historically has not worked out for them, but this time, their fortunes have switched. Zeb finds one, but Jesse clears up both defenders. Pit Ponies now very much on the back foot. Only 1 rifle available to the SEA Dragons, though, and look at the health bars. Everyone is below half HP, and Zerx won't be for much longer. Ollie, credit for that one. Barbecue Zerx alive.
Yeah, this retake is on once you get church control, and Spirit Fox with the jumping kill in towards Jesse. The confidence is flowing. The Pit Ponies are moving. They're trotting. They're getting shut down, actually. It's all onto Ollie now, a 1 versus 2. Opponents are low, but the time's ticking down. The pressure's there. Ollie had a tough matchup so far. They need to stick this. Joey They need to spam and they will connect the bullets, picking up the AWP, and that is a force buy win from the Sea Dragons. I don't know how they got away with that.
Every single time the SEA Dragons have force pushed B, it has not worked out well for them. I think Pit Ponies may be resting a little on their laurels, not expecting that full committal. But when you back a dragon into a corner, it's gonna bite back harder. And all those pistols working beautifully in the hands of Jesse in particular has been so strong in these pistol rounds at dislodging CT side players. This time around, a scout in the hands of Spirit Fox. Not enough money for the AWP this time. Have to see if it pays off for them as SEA Dragons claim mid.
Claim mid, indeed they do. Trading of utility now as they're happy and content with that 1 kill advantage. You can see actually movement towards B, so Sea Dragons reading into the rotations a little bit. As I say that though, Chow with an impactful grenade down towards bottom mid takes down the ultimate danger man that has been Pink in this matchup.
I wonder if production will let us see the scoreboard while we wait for the SEA Dragons to pick their next angle. I'd love to see the impact of removing Pink from the board has alone. Not that this team can't play without him, but when the dude is carrying nearly, well, actually, I think a total 2/3 of the overall kills in the lobby, I think it's safe to say it's going to be impactful. Jesse, though, looking to make up for the loss of his teammate. Finds Zeb. 3 defenders left on the board, and the Pit Ponies are congregated here towards the B site. Can they hold off this push?
Playing somewhat of a retake setup. Ryback only good for 1 as they're not able to retreat back in time. Oh, that smoke push on the fade from Ollie is good enough for 2. Puts things into a 1v1. And Jesse, keen for that fight. Chow is so ready for it. And that's 11 rounds for the Pit Ponies as they crawl back another one.
Jesse really stepped up to the plate there. I've been complimenting their pistol skills, but this player has been... saying surprising it feels reductive, but this player has been consistently playing well. 12 and 15 might not look like the most impressive slash line, but this player has been stepping up when they need to. And they're going to need to a little bit more as SCA now 2 rounds from the abyss. Nuke is looking ever more likely as we head into the final few. Pit Ponies coming in strong. Their confidence is swelling. This has been their map to a T. And as the SEA Dragons run for apartments, let's see how this take comes along. Jesse finds one already.
It's just decimation out of the Apps Flood, and the CT side are left scrambling, but they're ready to recover in time. The rotations are there. That can calm the tides. Bomb hasn't been planted just quite yet, and with the util to buy some space, that should be an inciting prospect. But look at this push. They're pushing ahead of the plant. I don't know what got into them, but Jesse and Rizzy combine, and it's going to be an utter domination. Jesse with 1 HP in a dream, 3 kills on the round. The SCA Dragons have been so good on these force buys.
Jesse had exactly 1 HP more than he needed to. This player, the amount of times, by the way, the amount of times in this set so far that we have seen a 1 or 7 HP survival to clutch up is insane. Secondly, how Pit Ponies were unable to dislodge that plant setup is beyond me. And now, they're in a really rough position here. They have no money. They need to win this round, otherwise they're going back to even, and that is not a position they want to be in against the reigning champions. The SEA Dragons are poised to overtake the Ponies and potentially edge them out here on their own map. They really need to consolidate and focus and figure out a way to make these pistols count.
Yeah, I can break that one down purely on the shoulders of Chow. And I'm not saying this in a purely negative sense, but they're on their lonesome on towards that short and pit side of the A site. And that's half of the map responsible in the hands of 1 player. They use their Molotov so early because they spot that player in towards mid. And that means that Apps Flood has no opposition. They can throw as many smokes, even nades as they want. But with so many players flooding out, there's just no hope of connecting all of them. So Chow a little bit caught lacking. And the rotations, were barely there in time. But it could have been a much better situation.
All to play for here. Round 22. A deeply important moment now for the Pit Ponies. They need this round to go well, and Chow already, look at that! Jesse looks away for a moment, and Chow is able to sneak back into apartments for free. Joey, too late to try and punish. No. Don't let it happen again. But yeah, there's no shot. Good punishment there, but right back. Wait, hold on. Every time Joey looks away, somebody dies. What? Pit Ponies, weeping pit angels. I don't know, make something like editing team, make it work.
Honestly, I had the same thought, but the Sea Dragons, they've wisened up to the situation, realised it's an A stack, pushing in towards B. Zeb, not able to get anything done with the USP. The rotations are galloping through, but Rizzy's in an advanced position, and you're not going to expect this, surely, if you're the Pit Ponies. Okay, alright, I'm going to shut my mouth, because the Pit Ponies are aware of everything. They seem to be transcending the server right now, and with the players so low from the Sea Dragons, they have a hope.
Ollie literally just said, why think when I can feel? Flicks through, reaction times fully on point. Pink and Joey both have very low HP, and it's gonna be the closest. Spirit Fox and Ollie with the Pit Ponies. I'm getting way too excited for this, ladies and gentlemen. I am at another flooding 12. As are the Pit Ponies, 1 round away from taking us to map number 3 on an economy round. These guys are off to the races. I've been waiting all cast to say that. Please don't be mad.
Honestly, I applaud it. I want more puns. Bring all the puns as the Pit Ponies gallop through into a promising prospect. The Sea Dragons have to force up in this situation. They need to keep their hopes alive of pushing this towards overtime. Otherwise, we're going to go to a third, and what an exciting prospect that would be.
As I mentioned earlier, but now Nuke isn't even looming on the horizon. Nuke is imminent. This is Fallout, baby, and we're just waiting for them to drop. Everyone get in your vaults. Although that being said, I could be speaking too soon. The SEA Dragons definitely not a team you want to count out, but what a grenade! Takes off half the HP of 2 members of the Red Scales. And with this position, Spirit Fox just looks calmly into the apartments, finds 1, 2, 3. The rent is due and the landlord is here to collect.
What does the Fox say? The Fox says decimation to the Sea Dragons. Chow, alive on the site, setting up with the AWP. Called away, the Zeb able to cover, and this is good rotations, a good resurgence from the Pit Ponies to bring it back towards a nuke. The Sea Dragons have not lost a map in God knows how long, even back to previous seasons. So now to finally see the Sea Dragons tested, the Pit Ponies showing up on their map pick, this is a matchup that I was hoping for, and this is a matchup that the Well Season 8 has deserved.
I told you, I put the butt on the nail, I took it back off, the ponies are here to prance, and they are taking us all the way through to nuke. I am just utterly buzzing. What a performance from this team. I already went and gushed about how, yes, they didn't win Overpass, but on a niche map, they still showed up strong against a super dominant team. And I'm so happy that my little prediction there paid off. They played Nuke on, sorry, not Nuke, they will play Nuke. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I'm thinking about the next map already. They played Inferno so well. The CT side from the Pit Ponies was an absolute masterclass. And we were talking about how Overpass sifts out the casuals from the really experienced players. I didn't even think we had a Civ for Inferno, but somehow the Pit Ponies made one and used it for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. What a stellar performance from the Pit Ponies to push it to a third. And I've just got to commend them all round. You know, okay, admittedly, we were singing the praises of a few players, but it never really seemed like the Pit Ponies had one particular weak link that the Sea Dragons could abuse. You know, the Pit Ponies were showing up when it mattered. The key players were fragging, their win conditions triggered, and I mean, yeah, just all commendations to them moving forward. I think, you know, Nuke is an interesting prospect, and I think we're going to go back to some old talking points that we were talking about in Overpass with, you know, things like rotations and separating the wheat from the chaff. But right now, we've got to give our flowers to the Pit Ponies for pushing it to a third and getting us to this point.
Yeah, I think we'll be, as you mentioned, touching on a lot of the same points. Nuke, in a lot of ways, plays very similarly to Overpass. in that you need to ebb and flow, and you know, not to throw them under the bus before we've even gotten there, but the Pit Ponies showed us on Overpass that ebbing and flowing isn't necessarily something that they are comfortable doing. We'll have to see if that's going to be different for Nuke, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to look back at that match and hit some replays. I feel like, you know, I need a break. Maybe you at home need a break. Go get some refreshments, watch these replays, and meet us back here for the third map of this Grand Finals.
Nuke, baby!
Hello everyone, welcome back from that short break. I hope you took some time to recover. I think we needed some time to recover from that one because this matchup has really started to heat up. If you've just caught us, we're in the final map of this best of 3. We started off on Overpass. That was a pretty strong affair towards the Sea Dragons. Inferno is where things really heated up. The Pit Ponies were able to bring things back, and we're pushed towards a nuke that's set up to be a map of the ages.
It's almost a shame from a storytelling perspective that it wasn't Inferno, Nuke, then Dust. It kind of would lay out a nice little, almost like a little book. But watching these two teams play back-to-back has been such a treat. And Jammer, would you believe that this is the first, Game 3 of a WEL Finals in quite some time?
I would, because I was there for most of them.
And we get the treat of casting it! That's all us!
That is an amazing sight and an amazing prospect moving forward. A real knife round is in order as well, as we actually need to decide who plays on what side in contrast to the other maps. So we'll see how things fall. It's going to be the Sea Dragons that actually gets picked.
I'm going to throw this out there. Last game, I said the reason why why the Pit Ponies were all killing each other was as punishment for losing game 1, and all I'm saying is that that didn't happen last time, so maybe I was right.
Maybe we need more of it is what you're really prospecting at, but we need more CS action, and there's a stalling in the ladder. It's not going to be punished, but it's an awkward one for the movement homies out there. It's a stack towards A with the dualies as well. That's an interesting position.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. We're talking about... Wait, hold on. Never mind. Jesse's gotta be honest with you. He really does not like when people have faces that are intact. And he's gonna go all out in making sure 4 out of 5 go completely messed up. I really couldn't see the landing there. What a performance from Jesse on these pistols.
Yeah, man, if the double Js are showing up to help Pink out, especially if Pink's the one, using the AWP towards Outer, then, we might have to call it Dunzo already, but it is just a pistol round. Pit Ponies, no plant, not gonna force. Very smart decision from them. It should mean an easy enough round for the Sea Dragons, but we've seen stranger things happen.
What a way to start us off. Now that's how you start a game, ladies and gentlemen. Pit Ponies already on the back foot. We'll have to see what the adaptation looks like now. The SEA Dragons, they've got a full complement of weapons. I'm sure they're not too worried here as Joey finds one, but it's going to get crowded around. Zeb able to find one in return. And with Ollie just sitting here with the Glock, I'm not too sure there's much else for this player to pick up. What I was trying to say, Jammer, at the start of that last round is, even as a caster, even as a commentator, I'm not super familiar with Nuke. So watching these two teams come onto this map, A, is a testament of, well, hey, maybe the SEA Dragons didn't think this far through. They've never lost a map in a best of 3, so maybe when they were banning, they maybe didn't consider that Nuke might actually be played. This could also be that both or one of these teams could be a lot more experienced on this map than the other. We get to find that out as a duo.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so keen to find that out. I think one of the wildcard or jokers in this matchup will be Rizzy. I think they're the type of player to W key through the hut and really pressure that lobby area. But right now we're seeing outside presence. I think there's a missed smoke in play. Pink with an M4. Audacious fight to be taken, but the backup is there, and Zyrex is able to bring up 2. Ollie and Ryback now need to pick up the pieces with the bomb in an irretrievable position.
3v2 situation. And the Pit Ponies have picked up some AKs for themselves, especially for this. Or rather, they picked up an AK as a special gift to Rizzy. He's really going to enjoy it. And Jesse as well gets one for Christmas. Thank you very much, Ryback. That's very generous.
Well, the Sea Dragons looking to catch the Polar Express to a quick win here. Looking to come back from their single map defeat of this season so far. And they're in good stead to do so. with 3 AKs. That's going to be a worrying prospect with those one-tap headshots on the CT side. We'll have to see if that comes to a factor moving forward.
Standard setup here from the SEA Dragons. 3-0 so far. Pretty familiar situation that we've seen these teams in, winning 3 rounds at the start of one of these halves. Doesn't necessarily mean much for the rest of the game, but if they can translate this into 4, could tell us a little bit more about how these teams are wanting to play. Pit Ponies here, all with pistols. Jesse takes one off the board, Ziggs with a second. Zeb able to find one, and now the T's are firmly on this site. Zeb picks up Rizzy as well. Claims one on Spirit Box, but rushes in too fast. Zeb and Ollie now combine, and with 2 AKs on the board, the Ponies have a real shot at this. Well, a real shot at Joey's head. That's revenge for messing up Ollie's face earlier on in the game.
A lot of messed up faces in that situation. Pit Ponies put their first round on the board though, and that's a really big round to win. It's going to throw the economic questions that we've talked about so much in this matchup in towards the Sea Dragons, and this is their last buy. So if the Sea Dragons lose this, the Pit Ponies are set up and perfectly teed to pick up a few rounds of their own.
And T-side as well, we were worried about seeing Pit Ponies play, right? Looking back at Overpass, we were worried about their ability to adapt to the round and ebb and flow with the pace of the map. Nuke plays very similarly, and we need to see if that's going to be an issue for them here as well. This time around, playing for the outside. They might come up against some defenders here, but with the smokes, they are able to make it down into the underbelly. Down towards the B site. Joey is here, the lone defender so far, and the smoke comes through. So excellent, excellent spider sense from the defender there. Perfectly poised, perfectly placed.
Yeah, they are the lone defender down towards B, and Chow up towards A might be trying to throw a spanner in the works. They are indeed able to do such a thing. Joey, a lot of players in front of them, and no halting utility. It's just going to have to be the bullets. They're going to retreat back, and that's a wise decision as the rotations come through on ramp. Nice entry from Ryback, and Chow with a second, making things harder. It's just the ramp side defense to come through on this retake, and Pink not connecting with the AWP should call this round quits.
2 players left standing. As you mentioned, it looks like they're going to do just that, trying to back away. The Pit Ponies are out for blood. Bomb is down and ticking. But trying to challenge Pink with an AWP maybe isn't what our horsey friends want to be doing. Yep, well, Chow's going to find out that lesson the hard way. Take a spill themselves. The rest of the team is going to make their way out one by one. And with the second round on the board for the Pit Ponies, they are looking a little bit more comfortable and making sure that this round is going to be just as even. Pink is in an odd position, and finally Ryback able to clean that one up. No Jesse to be found, but the Pit Ponies have got to be happy with that one with... Oh, they decide not to actually take the AWP with them to the next round.
Yeah, looking to be dynamic on the T side. It's really important, as you can see now, that they took the AWP out of the hands of Pink with how impactful they've been so far this matchup. So no AWP in the hands, only 1 rifle moving forward in towards this. It's really up to Jesse to have some sort of impact, and you probably just want them to keep this rifle in towards the next, if anything.
1 rifle on the board for the SCA Dragons. It's the A1S in the hands of Jesse, who so far in this game has been a standout. Pink not quite able to replicate the same level of success we saw from them in that last map, but Jesse certainly holding on to those hot hands here on Nuke. As the Pit Ponies, through a portable land cloud, are going to make their way down to the underside of B yet again. Position worked out for them. I really want to talk about how well we've been seeing this IGL move on to that lurk responsibility. He's been finding so many just random kills, unexpected positions. Chow has really been making a meal of these unexpected angles, and here he is yet again on A.
Yeah, Chow been saying Chow to many of the CT side setups. So smart with their play. They're going to come back up vents after Chow clears the top site. Not quite aware of Jesse's position, and that's a dangerous prospect. 2 kills in the round. That means there's guns to be retrieved, and there's a heavy push from the CT side together in towards the lobby.
4 left to find. The SCA Dragons do have numbers, but they don't have a lot of force. But Chow is going to be looking in the wrong place. Just finally adjusts his crosshair, finds one. That's a second, but the rotation there from Pink is going to punish. And the second player falls down. The Pit Ponies aren't able to hold on to their horses. The SCA Dragons push through and put 4 on the board.
The Sea Dragons, I don't know how they get away with that. The Pit Ponies are just caught looking in every which direction apart from where their opponents actually are. I think they were a bit too content with the fact that they had lobby control, not aware that they could have lost it. So really bad round to lose if you're the Pit Ponies in terms of the confidence. But there's another round to play and another opportunity to put another on the board. But yeah, that's a bit of a head scratcher if I'm in the server.
And now we're heading into I think this might actually be the first full buy from both teams. Please correct me if I'm wrong or if I just blinked and missed it. These rounds have been going so quickly in so many cases. Both these teams might be struggling to catch their breath, but the SCA Dragons might work out for them. The Pit Ponies seemingly a little bit frazzled. Need to be able to find their footing again after that last round. If they can't, I'm worried that the SCA Dragons might just push them a little further.
Yeah, that's a big smoke miss from Jesse, so they have to forfeit ramp control without any backup coming in. The rest of the Sea Dragons need to be aware of that, so adjustments to be made here on the defense off an errant smoke, and it's just not going to be punished actually. So Pit Ponies keen to move back towards A, trying to sell a fake, and it's not going to be bought by the Sea Dragons. The defense is ready and waiting, but that's a nice Molotov to start things off. Ollie to bring in a kill. Zyrex swings out into the Molotov, able to pick up one, but not traded back again. Oh, there's trades finally coming in, but the Sea Dragons are rotating into position. Joey a 1-for-1 trade, and now it's again Jesse in for a clutch.
Last man standing finds the vent, pops through nice and quick. Beautiful high flash from Chow is going to be just enough distraction to make Jesse think twice about where they need to be looking. And the Pit Ponies not knocked off from that last round. Shaken but not stirred. Come back with passion. And don't let SCA Dragons extend that gap. 1 between them, 4 and 3 on the board. Nuke already looking and promising to be a strong showing from both of these teams. Now, Rizzy and Jesse on Deagles. The SCA Dragons not able to find a full buy for themselves. But, and normally I would be saying, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. But you put Jesse on a pistol, I think they might actually be better.
That is a dangerous prospect in their hands. There's so much riding on this AWP and M4 play though. The pistols are definitely dangerous, but with the AWP down already, it's going to be a hard uphill battle for the Sea Dragons moving forwards.
Ryback expecting a little bit of resistance there from the stairs. Mollies it off, revealing to us, the viewers, the true intentions of the Pit Ponies. They don't want B this time around. They're going for another A push. It worked so well last time. See if they can replicate it. Jesse here holding the wide angle might be a little unexpected, but this team is experienced. Surely they won't be thrown off guard by a singular deagle. Flash comes through, shots off the mark. Jesse not quite able to connect. And now falling down to B site. It was all a long game. It was all a long bamboozle. As Ziggs is able to find the pick up onto Ryback, the rest of his team are able to make it onto B site and put down the bomb.
Sea Dragons have their jimmies rustled. Rizzy returning firing towards the ramp, and Joey makes their presence known, so Pit Ponies have all the information to work with. Can they piece this together? Oh,
Chow
no.
No, wait, look behind you! Thank God, Chow! Blinking, you'll miss it nearly past Joey completely. Picks up the kill and runs away. As is the rest of his team. It looks like they are more than confident. They might look for a little pickup here. Surely, Chow doesn't know where the AWPer is. Yeah, Rizzy's gonna pick around that corner and punish that play. Chow falls down, and now surely they're not gonna feed the AWP another kill. Flash comes through. Can he make it happen? No. No, he can't.
It's probably a good hunt, to be honest. I want them to be committing more as a team, though, in that situation, because you can see just the effect it would have had. Pink, with an AWP in their hands, has been so dangerous for this entire matchup. If they can have some more impact in towards Nuke, then that's definitely a way for the Sea Dragons to buy their way into this game. Right now, though, it seems like they're a little bit lost with the economic situation, and you know, they've had some variety of setups, but really what's worked for them is this group up play, which they've gone back to with their pistols.
Slowly picking their way through an offensive side here, through vending into A. Pink on the other side finds Ollie outdoors. Chow just narrowly avoids spotting Pink's head, knows where he is. Has to stay aware for now, but the rest of the CTs making their way through. Jesse and Ziggs get punished already. Still in the rafters, have to watch out for that AWP. Rizzy pops through and finds Chow in the face.
Don't want to be popped in the face. Pink, just a turret up here in towards heaven, just have so much responsibility, but they've been so good at shutting things down so far. Another player to find, but it's Ryback, the dangerous person from Inferno, continuing to lurk, and this is a worrying position for all teams all round. As the Pit Ponies move towards B, I don't think the rotation's going to come through if the bomb gets planted, but if Ryback goes down, that will open the door into things.
But I'm not sure that anyone knows that Ryback's here. I mean, why would he be? I mean, he's going to get aggressive, but Rizzy even turns around. No. I'm not sure what the motivation was there, but Joey finds Spirit Fox, a P250 in hand. And now Zeb is the only player left standing. Door opens up and Joey falls down, but Rizzy's here for the crossfire, and the Pit Ponies come so far just to lose. And I'm going to restate what I've said already a few times. This team is more dangerous with a bunch of pistols in their hands backed into a corner.
It certainly seems like it. You know, I said at the start of the game, Rizzy's the type of player to just W key through hut. It's the reverse situation in this one, but works out so well for them and just able to compound on their success. So really nice play here from the Sea Dragons. Pit Ponies on for a keen rush towards A, and so much space to work with, but the bullets are raining in the other direction. Rizzy and Zyrex combining. So much damage dealt towards the Pit Ponies for what was an aggressive push and shut down.
Don't count them out just yet. Well, I mean, you can now. Ziggs finds that one. A third skull on the belt for the guy. MVP of that round. And Piponi spent a little bit too much money last round to justify buying up again this time around. Now, Jammer, I'm gonna float out a statement here. And I'm gonna fish for your opinion. Inferno. We were looking at the Pit Ponies 6-4 on that map, saying if they can make it out 7-5 into their turn on the defensive side, they'd be in a solid spot. Here we are, 6-4. Pit Ponies on the T side. And I find myself thinking the exact same thing yet again. This team have already looked pretty solid on T. How well are they going to play on CT?
Yeah, that's the big question moving forward. Pink, though, returning fire with the AWP, and that is such a nice set of kills to get. Booning the move forward, and there's so many more players to find. I believe they're going to connect every single one of them. Ryback finally able to shut things down, but that was almost the second ace that we saw in the grand finals from the same player. Ryback, though, only a Glock in hand, not able to retrieve any guns. As I say that, pick up a deagle. That's dangerous, and just as Ryback was heating things up, it's Joey to calm the tides, and that's a 7-4 match point. I should say final round of the half, not match point. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is too exciting.
Yeah, we're way off. We're way off match point just yet, Gemma. There's still plenty of Counter-Strike to be played, especially if the Pit Ponies can make this final round count. A little light on the ground utility-wise, but the team has been able to pick up a full complement of rifles. It's worked out for them in the past. Can they take down the SCA Dragons and push them to a 7-5 for the second half? Certainly been done. And I have faith that this team could dethrone the defending champions if they play their cards just right.
A lot of hands left to be dealt in this matchup. Last one of this half. Joey using a smoke towards outside just to buy a bit of space, and they're going aggressive behind this. Are the Pit Ponies going to expect this? Joey trying to throw a spanner in the works and thinks better of it. Pink, they're in safe hands, honestly. Safest pair of hands that we've seen this entire match to cull any outside players. And so that's going to send the Pit Ponies redirecting.
Chow here famously has been able to take down some of these players. Takes the worst half of a trade there against Joey. Zix, pinky toe in the fire. Meanwhile, Pink finds Chow. The round's looking a little dicey now for the Ponies. 3 players left on the board. 30 seconds to make something happen. Ryback and Zab are going to be in an odd spot here. Jesse has the hands. Denali, the last man left standing, runs right into the headlights of Pink, waiting for them with the cannon. 8-4 is the slash line going into the second half, Jammer. A 4-round deficit isn't impossible to climb out of, especially not for this team on this side, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important for the Pit Ponies to pick up this pistol round to at least buy a lifeline back into things. We'll have to see how they approach things moving forward, but I've just got to, again, commend the impact of Pink. You know, the rotations of hitting outside, rotating to inner, and then even finally coming back to ramp to close things out is so impactful, and it just makes things so hard for the Pit Ponies to read. We'll have to see if they can replicate things, but this is an audacious push outside, and the wrap towards A lot of pressure. Spirit Fox with some impact, but instantly traded back, and Rizzy's got a couple of kills in hand. A few more to find as Chow returns fire, and suddenly things get a little bit dicey. 2 versus 2. There's a kit in play, so there's definitely a retake on.
2 players, but both of them are stuck in heaven. 50 HP on Rizzy, but only 6 on Ryback. We've seen both of these players pull out crazier things, but Zix takes one. It's going to be Zeb in the 1v1 situation. Rizzy only 50 HP, but finds them on the off angle. All Rizzy has to do is delay the time, but Zeb is able to find the kill. Does he have the time to defuse? I think that he does! And the first round of the second half goes in favor of the defending team. Pit Ponies aren't going quiet into this. Good night.
Man, what a clutch from Zeb. That was such an important round to win, and from such a dire situation as well. Cut off from the site, you have to drop in like Assassin's Creed and try and retake that position. Really good play in the end from the Pit Ponies, and it's going to cause attack pause straight away, so you can see just the effect that it's had on the psychology alone.
This team has been so resilient, so strong. We were talking at the start of the day, Jammer, and I'm going to bring up a second point in just a moment, the mental resilience that these teams have to have, not only to play out the finals, but to come back from deficits. Both of these teams have shown us that they definitely have the source to do that. The second question, Jammer, that is only relevant now that we are 3 hours into this series, is whether or not these teams have the physical resilience to keep playing through these games at the same quality we've been seeing from them this entire time.
You know what? That is a really good point to bring up. After a matchup like this, where you've been pushing things deep in towards these matches and finally getting so late, playing continuously, these players are going to have some degrade and some fatigue coming through. Ollie's got some fatigued eyes flashed off the line, and there's so many players to find that just can't connect the bullets on the Pit Pony side. The 2 versus 4 players so low, though, there's still a hope.
Yeah, the rifles, the gun advantage is definitely on the side of the Pit Ponies, but they have to be able to position themselves correctly. Zeb is about to get stuck up on from behind. Pink with the dualies. Ryback, last man left standing. Health bars are definitely in his favor. It's the SMG play. 24 health, though. Ryback's just been sprayed down. Flash comes through behind his eyes, but these 2 players are just playing too safe. He can't find them and defuse the bomb at once. Has to play over aggressively. No time left on it. 1 falls down. Has to stick the defuse. Not even able to get a hand on it. That's going to be a win for the SCEA Dragons this time. Both players take a spill, and that wipes the board clean. But that clean board certainly still favors the Dragons in terms of their econ.
Yeah, man. Pink just says, just give me a reason, and sends the rest of the Pit Ponies to the walk of shame. This is such a good matchup so far, and Pink, I mean, it's a trying moment for them. They've been so good. They just need a few more pieces to chime in, and the SEA Dragons can bring this across the line. The Pit Ponies, another story. I think the big thing we've been commending them for is the calling of Chow, as well as the individuals stepping up when they need to in these clutches. So a little bit more team play, a little bit more cohesion from them might be enough to bring them back into things.
I'll stand by my previous statement. These players are too dangerous with pistols in their hands. Chow taking off the key player of the SEA Dragons straight away.
What?
Sam finds a 2nd and 6 while he's able to take that one down. That's critical damage to the SEA Dragons side. Ollie continues the trend. 2 players left standing against the sea of pistols. Sidearms have been the thorn in the Dragons' side this entire series. And Chow wants to translate yet again another one. Joey nearly finds themselves the next victim. Here's the steps. Chow caught between 2, and Ziggs is going to finally put that argument to rest.
I like the way that the Sea Dragons there have segmented things into that mid-round. You know, they lose so many players, they need to figure out how to pick up the pieces, and they're doing exactly that, segmenting the fight so that they have the advantage instead of 2v1s. And now it's an even keel 2v2, rifles to be retrieved. Ollie's got one of them, right back, trying to pick one up towards outside, but they're not aware of the push from the rest of the Sea Dragons. They can pass that info along though, and Ollie's in a good position to take advantage.
Ryback still hasn't been able to find a rifle to call his own, however, and now with the bomb down, these 2 players have to combine to pick up the remaining T's and get that bomb off the board. Zix already saying, no way, Jose. Down falls the last rifle. Ryback, surely he spotted out some toes. He knows where Zix is. Falling from the sky, 6 bullets left, but these 2 players combine, and the crossfire cannot be avoided.
Yeah, it's raining men. The Sea Dragons, they look like they were out of it, but the 2 versus X situation works out for them, playing so well in that downward, deficit that they're able to recover things and even make it look trivial. So really good recovery from the Sea Dragons in what was looking to be an upset.
Was is the operative term, Jammer. Let's not count these ponies out before they hatch. Guns on the board available to them. 2 scouts picked up, which is an interesting take from the defending side, but there's a map to do it on. I don't see why it shouldn't be Nuke. The Pit Ponies, 5-round deficit right now. Definitely have the juice to make a comeback. Whether or not they can execute on it is going to be the question. Rizzy has snuck completely past Chow. With the rest of his team, it's going to be a relatively easy sweep up here of the A site. 3 defenders fall down, the bomb goes down. And while health bars are low, it's not looking great for the Pit Ponies here in round 16.
Yeah, Pit Ponies with such an instrumental force buy. The fact that they get nothing done, it's just not worth the squeeze. Even though there was so much juice, it quickly dried up. The Pit Ponies left stranded in towards heaven, and man, the Sea Dragons, this is where I think the critical gap has been established now. We've seen, other teams across Well try and contend for skill, and the Pit Ponies have shown they can contend on that level, but now you're seeing the next level of the Sea Dragons when it matters most, when they need to come together and put on and execute to just hit a site against a force buy. The Pit Ponies, they've been dangerous with some of these pistols, but I think it's just been that slight edge from the Sea Dragons that has led to this situation.
Still all to play for. The SEA Dragons, though. 2 points from match win, set win, tournament win. A lot riding on these last 2 rounds. Potentially last 2 rounds. Pit Ponies. As I've mentioned before, and as I will continue to staunchly fight for. Certainly not out of this game so far. However, this round will definitely tell us whether or not they'll be able to make it into the future. But 3 taken off the board. Hold on, wait. One of those is his own team. Pink gets shot in the back of his head. And it's still a 2v3.
Sea Dragons nerfing themselves to give the Pit Ponies a lifeline. Post-plant situation, do or die for the Pit Ponies right now. They've invested everything. Ollie with the single kit, so keep your eyes on them as they move forward. the luck element been taken down so early, and so these final two players towards ramp have a lot to do, but they've got the first, and they're aware of where some of the others reside. Ollie gonna tap that bomb, gonna put the pressure back, but Zyrex, able to eliminate Chow, has been so instrumental. Ollie, so much to do, but such a quick flick from Joey to close things out, and that's a 12th round. The Sea Dragons are gonna close things out.
It is match point. Game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. Nuke has been unlocked. And while the Pit Ponies have fought valiantly over the last 3 maps, it is looking too close to call. The Void is ever calling, ever beckoning at the Ponies. And as the Sea Dragons look to close out this game, it is ever tighter. 5 and 12 on the board right now. 2 SMGs, 3 rifles, and Chow pushing into enemy territory to be shut down immediately by Jesse. It was a Hail Mary play that has not worked out, and now Pit Ponies are 1 man less strong.
A desperation hero play from Chow, and I've been calling their praises, but you can see the flustered actions of the Pit Ponies now. The Sea Dragons finally choose their plan of attack, and you know, they're rewarded for their patience. Moving forward, Spirit Fox trying to do all they can with a scalp, but the shots are not connecting. They're not gonna convert, and the Sea Dragons creep ever forward to this match win. 5 versus 2. So many players left to find if you're the Pit Ponies, but they managed to find 2. 3, in fact. They're making an even keel, but there's 2 more to find, and they're not going to be able to find it. Zyrex and Pink close things out. The Sea Dragons retain their victory, and they put on a show for the Welsh Season 8 finals.
You know what? We can talk about the Sea Dragons, and I'm sure tons has already been said about them. But Jammer, we have spent how many seasons with an unquestionable, unfaltering reigning champion? And while they hold on to their crown this season, if this is not an indication of a rising tide, a rising skill level that is nearly ripe to challenge the Dragons, I don't know what possibly could be. This was a treat of a series to watch, and if anything makes me more excited for Season 9, I don't even know if I want to see it. I don't think my brain could comprehend anything that could make me even more excited for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. What a grand finals to treat us for Season 8. It's been one of the best finals that I've ever witnessed for these matchups so far. So just honestly, commendations to the Pit Ponies for showing up, putting up a fight, and I've got to say, really valiant effort from them overall. I think, you know, looking forward, the Pit Ponies have a lot to be happy with. They have a lot to kind of look back on with pride, especially pushing it to a 3rd map that we haven't seen in so many seasons. So thank you, Pit Ponies, for putting on a game. But even more so, Sea Dragons, they've shown that they are still a cut above. They're still the big Goliath to be taken down. And so I'm just so keen to see what happens next season as the rest of these teams try and scramble to get ahead and challenge them, because it's getting competitive as it's ever been.
And that's what we absolutely love to see, right? Leagues like this just ooze and bleed skill and passion and energy, and it's amazing to see these players coming through, putting everything on the line, and giving us Counter-Strike that is a cut above. This is not just regular gameplay. These players are playing a cut above, and it is a treat for not just Counter-Strike at WELL, but WELL overall.
Yeah, well said, well said. I think we should kind of cast our minds over the entire matchup. I want to ask you, Blazy, who do you kind of think deserves the MVP? You know, we've sat through it all. There's been so many ups and downs. So many players have had star moments and clutches. I want to know who kind of takes the crown. Who's been the most valuable player in this matchup for you?
I'm going to call for maybe what's the word? A hot take. This might not be a popular opinion, giving the MVP to the losing team, but I do genuinely believe that Chao's contribution, both as an IGL, a lurker, just someone to have made and facilitated these plays, and look how far they got, right? We came into this set, Jammer. We were talking about it in the green room beforehand. We were talking about it before we started game 1, about how SEA Dragons were not only the favorite to win, but had only lost 5 rounds total. Not 5 games, not 5 maps, 5 rounds. And for Pit Ponies to take them to at least 5 rounds every single map is an accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you've got some merit there to give it to the other side. I have been singing the praises of Chao for, I think, even a few games back, looking back at things. But yeah, I think for me personally, I'm going to have to give it to Pink. Just the amount of impact kills and the kind of turret-like play they had with the AWP on multiple maps across this series was just too hot to handle for the Pit Ponies. So yeah, I do want to say again, that's not to disparage any of the other players. It's just, I think these few players have had a bigger impact in this matchup. So yeah, again, really good things that we're seeing from the Welsh scene in Counter-Strike, and I'm so excited for next season to see how things progress.
Me too. And folks at home, this is a reminder that you are not just watching the end of the Well Counter-Strike season, but this season of Well as a whole. We've had some incredible tournaments, incredible teams, incredible players, and as you've just seen, incredible series. And if this is the trend of skill, the next season of Well is going to be something incredibly special. So make sure that you join the Discord, you follow the Twitch, you jump on Twitter to make sure that you keep up to date with what's coming next and when. Because if you're a fan of Counter-Strike, if you're a fan of Wales, if you're a fan of any other of the games that the WEL offer over their season, you're not going to want to miss out on any of the updates for Season 9 coming.
Yeah, buy some merch as well. Why not? Anyway, quick plug.
What a shill! Look at this! Look at this guy!
Yeah, look, you guys at home and everyone involved in what makes Well so good. So continue to get involved, get your friends involved, get your mom involved, get your dog involved. It's really what makes this entire thing great. But I think that's going to be it from us. We're going to look back at some of the highlights from the series. I gotta say, I'm so impressed with how Well has progressed so far, so can't wait to see what happens again next season. Blazy, any final words?
No, I'm good.
Okay, alright, fair enough. Well, that's going to be it from us today. I hope you all have an amazing evening. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and if so, make sure to get involved and get interactive. That's what makes this great. Yeah, that's going to be it from us. I hope you all have a good evening again. Thank you and good night.